In today's free course, you guys are going to learn exactly how to code a strategy and backtest it using the Quant Freedom backtester that I've built. And then at the very end, if you have done it successfully, you go to the Discord and I will be able to show you how you can actually get a replay exactly like what you're seeing on the screen here going for the strategy that you've created with this course or your own personal strategy. Okay, so the first thing, we're just going to go over some of the prerequisites and then we'll jump into it. All right, so the first thing that you'll need to do is make sure that if you're using Windows or whatever system that you're using, you go to your folder because we're going to need to create a virtual environment here. All right, so the way you do it, at least on Windows, is you'll come over here. I'm in this folder that I want to use, and I'm going to do python-m, and I'm going to do venv, and hopefully you guys can see this. I don't know how to make this any bigger, but yeah, python-venv inside. Remember, you have to be inside of the folder that you want to work with, and I'm just going to name this qf strat, because this is going to be Quant Freedom Strat. And the reason why we're creating this virtual environment is because we do not want to pip install directly to our main Python that we have installed on our computer. Okay, so now that we have this virtual environment installed, what we're going to need to do is we're going to actually need to activate it. So we're going to do this. We're going to do qf strat. Then we're going to do cd scripts. Then we're going to do cd activate. And so that's not going to work. And the reason why it didn't work is because you don't do cd, you just do activate. Activate. Okay, so now we have the virtual environment activated. So you can see here it's qf strat with this parentheses right here. And so now what we'll do is we're just going to do pip install quant freedom. And this will go ahead and collect all the information necessary in order to pip install it. And so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and come back when it's actually done. Depending on how fast your computer is, it will take a certain amount of time based off of that. So after you have done after your computer is done installing the package, I'm using Visual Studio Code and also Python 3.10.10. So what you'll need to do is whichever IDE that you're using, specifically with Visual Studio Code, you're going to need to bring up this search box here, and then you're going to type in select interpreter, and you should be able to see this Python select interpreter. Then you'll click this, and then you're going to enter interpreter path, and you'll go and grab the path at which you created your virtual environment. You'll find the python.exe and you'll put it right here. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to add this interpreter. I've already done this, and so you'll make sure that you do that. Again, if you have any problems with anything, you go to the Discord. Go down below, go to all my links, go to the Discord, go to the Telegram, and ask me, okay, if you can't figure this out. So after you have added your Python interpreter to Visual Studio Code, then you're going to need to, well, let's just say, we'll go into the next section about this, but you should have your Python interpreter selected, and then we'll move on to the next section. In this section, I'm going to be going over some of the extensions that I'm using with VS Studio Code. I'm not exactly sure how other IDEs handle it, but I highly suggest using Visual Studio Code. So here I have auto doc strings, black formatter, Docker, git lens. The main ones that are really, really important is you're going to need to install these Jupyter, because I like to use Jupyter notebooks. So you have to have Jupyter installed here. All of these, slideshow, Jupyter notebook, renders, just Jupyter. And you will also need to have Pylance, Python, yeah, basically all of these things that are showing up here. The main things would be everything that's involved with Python extension packet, and I like the black formatter, and then also Jupyter. The black formatter just formats your code and makes it look all nice. And so again, if you don't have these, especially the Jupyter or the Python, it's following along with me using the Jupyter notebooks is going to be almost impossible. And so again, for other IDEs, I'm not 100% sure what you guys would need to do, but you guys could work with this in using regular Python files if you'd like, but that's going to be up to you. And so now we'll move on to the next section of the intro. So now in this section, I'm going to be explaining that every single time you create a new, what is this called? Jupyter notebook file, you're going to need to come over here and it'll say select your kernel. And so you're always going to have to select your Python kernel every single time, or else none of this stuff is going to work. So anytime you create a new Python file, click over here and grab the virtual environment that we have created, that you have also selected for your Python interpreter, and you select that every single time, or else none of this stuff that's needs to be imported and Quant Freedom and any of that other stuff is going to actually work properly. Okay, and lastly for this section, if you have any questions, because this thing is going to be continuously updated, constantly updated. If something doesn't work, if you have any questions, any of that other stuff, you go down below, go to the all my links, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the main one right here, and then join the Discord or Telegram and ask me questions there. Do not leave comments on YouTube because it's a mess. So go to the Discord, go to the Telegram, and ask me there. And also, I am giving away free lessons for those who qualify, and I'm here to be hired, or I can help you for free if you qualify, to help you build your strategies, backtest your strategies, get these things running live, and all of that. So again, in order to do that, follow me on Twitter. That really helps. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and join the Discord or Telegram. I prefer Discord. 100% Discord is better than Telegram in my opinion, and ask me any questions that you guys have there, because again, this thing will be updated, things will constantly be changing, and so if you get stuck or any of that other stuff, don't just give up. Come and ask me. The person that's making this video right now is the actual creator. Most of the time that's not the way it is, but I am the actual creator of Quant Freedom, and so that means that I can help you if you have any problems with it. Okay, I'm the creator of it, and so we can add things, take away things, whatever. But anyways, I think that's it, and now let's jump into the actual content of the course. In this video, we're going to be going over the Python arithmetic operators. So first is just going to be 1 plus 1. Obviously that's addition, so that's just going to be 2. So we'll just run that. Then we have 1 minus 1, which obviously is going to be 0 as well. Then we have 2 times 3, so 2 times 3, which will be 6. Then we have this right here, which stands for the power. So we're just going to, or exponential. So we're going to be 2 to the power of 3, which is going to give us 8, which is basically the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2. And then here, what we will have is our division. So we have 13 divided by 5, which is going to give us 2.6, right? And after that, we have this thing called modulus, I think that's how you say it. And this is going to give you the remainder. So if we did 13 divided by 5, it's going to give us a remainder of 3, okay? And then we have our floor division, which is just going to remove this part right here, and we'll have a 2, so it'll just give us a 2. So like if I put 4, it'll still give us a 2. If I put 5, it'll give us a 3, or it should give us a, let's see here, put 5 here, it'll give us 3. And if we do this, it'll give us 3. And so here, if we did this as 5, it'll give us 0 because there is no remainder here. And so we'll do this. This gives us a remainder of 4. If you feel like you need to learn more, you can go to w3school.com/python/python-operators.asp. This website has a lot of information on a whole bunch of these different topics, so go ahead and check that out if you need more. In this video, we're going to be going over strings, and so again, if you guys need to learn more, w3school.com/python/strings_strings.asp. So here we just have your simple Python string hello. And then after that, we can store hello as a variable. And so we'll be able to print that out. You can see here, if we just do a equals hello, you just do a, and then you'll see hello here. And then here you can see that if you wanted to do more than just like one line and you just wanted to basically type out a paragraph for whatever reason, you could do it that way. Now you have to use 3 quotes if you're going to like use extra lines and stuff like that. But as you'll notice, the extra lines won't actually show up here. You'll have this, but if we wrap it in a print, you'll see that the lines show up like this. Okay, so you'll have the new lines showing up exactly how you want them if you do the print. So basically, we have to understand these strings are basically just arrays. And so here, if we did a equals, hello world, we did a1, we're going to grab this. If we did a0, we're going to grab hello, the h. If we did a4, we'll grab the o, because it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. And so you can see here, we can basically break it down into B, A, N, A, N, A for each one. So basically, this for loop is going to go through each and every single character, and you print it out. And you'll see here that it's just B, A, N, A, N, A, each one of those lines right here. And so we can also get the length of the string. And so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. The spaces count as characters. Anything between these strings is a character, and so that gets counted for its length. Okay. And so we can also search inside of this text and say text equals this, and we'll say is the word free inside of text, and we'll get back a true because free is right here. If we did it in another E here, you would see that it would say false. So if we said best is true. If we did best space, that's true. If we did best space space, that's false, because we have this best space right here, and so on and so on. So we can also set it up as an if statement, because again, this is just going to return true. So here we run this and we say is free in text, print yes if free is present, and it will. If we did this right here, it won't print anything because this is not a true statement here. So let's just bring this back and print that. And here, let's go ahead and print this. Same exact thing, except we're doing the not. So expensive not in text. So we're basically saying, is expensive in text? No, that's false. But this is, we're doing the not, which is like the reverse of whatever the statement is, and so that's going to return back true. Okay, so expensive is not in text, true. So here again, we're going to just do this. No, expensive is not present if we're setting up as an if statement. So again, like we talked about a little bit earlier, the arrays, strings are basically just arrays. And so here we're going to have it set up as B, and we're going to say give me from the start of the array all the way to 5, which is basically 4. So we're going to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so that's how you get this printed out hello. If we did 6, let's see here, we did 6, and so this is about slicing arrays. So if we did -1, you'd see here that we basically get everything except this last character right here. Okay. Let's bring this back to 5. And so here you can also change the how these are presented. And so here, if we did a equals hello world and we did upper, you'll see here that you basically change all of these to uppercase. You have lower, all of these to lowercase. And again, there's a whole bunch of these different modifying strings. You got capital K's, you got strip, you have a whole bunch of different things. So again, this is why I was saying, if you guys want more information on this is why you go to that website, and you'll be able to see these tests, you'll see these string methods, you'll have all types of information here. So I'm just trying to give you a basic understanding. Okay, so again here, one of the things that we're using a lot is replace. So if we're going to replace the H with J, so if we run that, you'll see here that we say Jello world because we replace the H with the J. So you can also replace whatever you want that's actually matches inside of here with whatever you want here. And here, this split is going to take it and say, hey, split at this comma. And so here we're going to have hello, and then we're going to have, like I said, the space because it's a character, and then world. So I think if we did this, you'll see that we actually get rid of the space right there. So that's how you can split the array here. And now we're starting to get into F strings and formatting and different things like that. And so here we have age equals 36, and you say my name is John and I am with this right here. And so here you just do text, which is this dot format age. And so we have, hi, my name is John and I am 36. And so here you can see here we can add multiple different parts here. We'll say the quantity, item number, price. And so we're saying here, I want this of quantity. Then we say pieces of item, this item number for this price. And so you see here, I want 3 pieces of item 567 for $49.95. And so if we come down here, you can see that you can actually change up the order of things. And so this 0 is going to start here, this 1 is going to be here, and this 2 is going to be here, because that's just the order that it's going in for the formatting. And so, you know, I want to pay 2, which is price right here. I'm going to pay this, 40, which is this, and 1, which is this. So I want to pay $49 for 3 pieces of item 567. And so here you can also just do this F string, and I want to pay $49 for, and so you, instead of doing it like this, doing all this format stuff, you can just throw in the variables inside of your string like that. And so here you can also format what's inside. So let's say that the price ends up being, you know, this gigantic number for whatever reason. You say, I want to pay this, and then you put this percentage dot 4F, and then you put this percentage sign, and then you put your variable here, and then it will go ahead and make it so that way it's going to be only 4 decimal places. So if I change this to 2, you'll see here, I did 2F, that's going to bring it down to 2. If I did 1, you'll see that it'll bring it down to 1. Okay, so that's how you can manipulate that as well. And then here we also have these, I guess, escape characters, you can call them. So here we're saying, we are so-called Vikings from the north. So if you wanted to put quotes, you can't put quotes inside of quotes, or else that's going to give you an error. Because if we did this, that's just going to give you an error. So we have to put our escape quotes, our escape character, which is a slash, and we'll get our quotes here. So here, if we wanted to put the escape characters to get the quotes, then we have this right here to give us a new line, which is /n. Then here is going to give us a tab, so it's /t. So we have this, we are so-called Vikings from the north, don't mess with us, or we will chop you up. So here, we are so-called Vikings from the north. In gives me a new line. Don't mess with us, tab, or we will chop you up. And notice how we don't have a space between the /n and don't, because if you do, again, like I said, you'll see that we get this character right here. So if you don't want it to be like that, I know it's messy, but hey, that's the way it has to be done. And so again, if you guys need more information on that, go to the link or go to w3school.com. They have a bunch of different information on strings. You guys can check out that, or just online anywhere if you need more information about strings. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Python operators. And so again, if you need more, w3school.com. But the basics of it is just we have 5 equals 10, which is false. Then we have 5 does not equal 10, which is a true statement. 5 does not equal 10. Then we're looking here is 5 less than 10. That's going to give us a true because it is. Then we say is 5 less than or equal to 10. That's also true. And here, if we just change this to 5, you'd see that it's also true because 5 does equal 5. Okay, so we'll change that back. Is 5 greater than 10? No. Is 5 greater than or equal to 10? No. So that's why we get our falses there. Then, if you wanted to, you could say if 5 is less than 5, which is false. So we say not that, which is, we're basically negating or doing the opposite of whatever. Basically, it's like the opposite of whatever this returns. So that's going to be true. So 5 is less than 5. Is 5 not less than 5? That is true. Or you can use this little thing right here. You say, is 5 less than 5? I guess this is called a tilde. 5 less than 5, so it's not. This is like the not operator, I guess you could say. So here, you have the and operator, so it's 5 less than 5, that's false. 5 is less than 10, that's true. So for ands, all the conditions need to be true in order for it to be true. And for the or condition, only one thing needs to be true in order for it to be true. And so here is like, let me see here real quick. So even if both of these things, this is false and false, that's going to give us a false. And then if we did this false or false, it's going to give us false. Okay, so again, all you need is one true for or in order for it to be true, and you need everything to be true in order for the and to be true. And so here, we can apply this not to it, but you just have to make sure that you put parentheses. So you're basically saying, give me the opposite of this thing right here. So this is false and this is true. So that's going to give us a false. So we're saying not this. And it's going to switch it over to true. And so here we have this is statement here. So 5 is 10. That's false. Then we have here 5 is not 10. That is true. Okay. And then here again, we have the in is hey in yes. No, that is not true. Is hey not in yes. That's true because hey is not in yes, and that's going to give us a true. So again, if you guys need more information, again, W3 School is going to be an absolutely great place for you to go in order to learn more about a whole bunch of different things with Python. In this video, we're going to be going over lists and tuples, and it's just going to be a brief overview. And so here we can have this list of numbers here, and we're just going to set it. Oh yeah, and again, if you want to learn more, as always, W3 School has tons and tons and tons of information on this. You can see here just way more stuff than I'm going to cover in this brief overview. So here, if we run this, we'll set my num list equal to this list of numbers. Let's print it out, and you'll see we get this list of numbers. Same thing, we can get this string list here. We'll print out the string list. We can get the length of the list. So just do len, and then just get that, and you'll get 7 because that's what the length is. So here, this is just showing that you can set multiple. You can set the list as like strings, numbers, booleans. Here you can set it as like complex, as string, number, boolean, number, string, and then it doesn't even matter. It's just a list of things. And so if we wanted to access each one of these things, then we start to do the slicing. And again, if you guys don't understand what slicing is, I would highly recommend doing some more research on it. But again, I think that we've covered the basics here, so it should be able to serve you well enough where you should understand it. And so here, if we want to get 0, because again, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, we're going to get the 0 place. The thing about lists is that you can actually change that. So if we did 0, I want to change 0 to 7. Well, now we had it as A, B, C, and now it's 7. And so if I wanted to access, let's say, the last part of the list, I just do -1. If I wanted to access the second to last part of it, I do -2. And here, if I wanted to just get the 0 and 1 part of the list, then we just do nothing and 2. If I wanted to get 2 to 2 and 3, because again, when you're slicing this number right here, it's always like -1. So if you wanted to get the third column, you have to do 4. So here we're going to get true and 40 because that's going to give us, this is 2 and 3. And for the list, if you wanted to append to the list, you just do list1.append hello. And so here we would append hello to the end of the list. And again, there's a whole bunch of different things you can join, you can sort, you can remove, you can there's just so much. But here, if we wanted to join, you could just do a simple plus. So you'd have to do this list plus this list too, and then it'll join the list together. And so the main difference between list and tuple is that tuple cannot be changed once you have set the tuple, which is a pretty good thing. So here you have my tuple. So I'm just going to do, you can turn the list into a tuple by just wrapping tuple around the list. Or I could have, done this right here. And let's just do this. And wait, why did I copy that twice? So here, what we do is we just put this and we'll wrap it in parentheses like this. And so now it's basically a tuple. And so, or if I wanted to change this tuple into a list, I could just do this, list, wrap it in list, and now my tuple has now become a list, okay? But I didn't save it. I just changed it to a tuple here. So in order to access the tuple, certain sections of the tuple, then you'll be able to see here that we just do the same exact thing as how we did with the list. We just want to access 0. And then here, if I try to change it, it says tuple object does not support item assignment. So again, once you have assigned the tuple number, that's what it is. Okay, and so here again, if you wanted to join the tuples, you can do so by just adding the tuples together. And so again, like I said, come up here, W3 School has Python list right here. Tons and tons of different things that you can look at. And then here we have these tuples. You have tons of different things that you can look at as far as tuples go. But again, if you've covered the basics and you understand slicing and understand looping and stuff like that, then you basically understand everything that you can do with the tuple and list. In this video, we're going to be going over dictionaries. And again, as always, if you want to learn more, w3school.com. So what is a dictionary? Well, basically, think of it as a list with keys. Okay, so here we're going to create this dictionary. So if we have a key named brand and the value that's within the key of brand is Ford, key of model, value within that is Mustang, year key, it's 1964. So if we wanted to access certain information within this dictionary, we just do mydict brand, and that'll tell us what the value is. So we're accessing the key brand, and we're getting Ford as the value. And so here, if I wanted to do mydict and I wanted to do this as year, then it will tell me what the value is of that year. So it's key colon value, key colon value, key colon value. Okay, and we can get the length of the dictionary, which will tell us how many, basically it counts up the amount of keys that we have. So we have 3 keys here. And so if you don't want to do it this way to create a dictionary, which I prefer to do it this way, like this, it's just a little bit easier. It's a less of these colons and what are these things called here? Quotation marks. I just like to do it this way, but it doesn't matter. So if you wanted to create a dictionary, you could do it like this, dict, and then put your equals, and then it'll do the same thing. Key equals this. So key equals value, key equals value, key equals value, and that'll end up getting you something like this. And so within the dictionary, you can have, just like with lists, you can have nested lists inside of lists, inside of lists, inside of lists, inside of lists. You can have dictionaries inside of dictionaries, inside of dictionaries, and each key can have multiple dictionaries inside of it. It can basically store anything. You can have a just gigantic dictionary of things, of tons of things. And so here you have a dictionary with brand Ford. This is a Boolean. This is a year. This is a list. And again, you could even do something like things here, and we'll do this, and this will also be things two. Well, let's just create a dictionary. Dict equals, and then this will be things 2 equals, whatever. Then here we would do things 3 equals 1, 2, 3, whatever. And so now you can see here we have a dictionary, mydict, brand Ford, electric, false, year this, colors this. Then inside of that we have a things key, which has a dictionary, which also has keys and values inside of that as well. And so yeah, you can just get kind of insane with this. And so here, if you wanted to see the items of the dictionary, you can do dict.items, and it will it returns this, except pretty ugly. But this is how you do for loops if you wanted to do that. And here we wanted to just get the keys of our dictionary. We could just do mydict.keys. You get brand, electric, year, color, things. And then if we wanted to get just the values, then we see that we have Ford, false, this. We have our list, and then we have our dictionaries, our dictionary right here. And here, if I wanted to add something to the dictionary, all I have to do is just do mydict, give it a key, and then tell it what I want the value to be of that key. And so here we do this. And then if we now look at this, we'll see we have brand, electric, year, color, things. Now we have numbers as a key. And then if we did values, you would see that we have forward, false, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of it, we have our tuple of numbers. So dictionaries are pretty useful in that sense, to where you can basically just store a whole bunch of information. And again, as always, if you need to learn more, because I don't really use dictionaries that much in my programming, but they're very, very useful. w3school.com has everything you basically need in order to figure out more about the basics of dictionaries beyond what I just taught, if you needed more. I feel like this has covered the basics of dictionaries and everything that you needed involved with that. Okay, for this video, we are going to be looking at the if, elif, and else statements for Python. And as always, w3school.com, even though basically all these examples are pulled from w3school. So here, all we're doing is setting b equal to 200, a equal to 33. We're seeing, is 200 greater than 33? The answer is yes. So we will come out here and we will print this statement. Okay. And down here, what we're going to do is we're going to say, if we're going to switch it up, b is 33, a is 200. If b is greater than a, then do this. Else, if this is false statement, then do this. Okay. And so here we're going to say b is 33, a is 200, b is not greater than a. Therefore, we come down to here because that's a false statement, and we take care of it with b is not greater than a. And here, we're going to check to see, is b greater than a? No, that's not true. Elif is a equal b. So elif is basically a situation to where you can have another if statement within this like sequence of ifs. Okay, so we have the sequence of if this, then this, if this, then this, if this, then this, if this, then this. Okay, and so that's the way you chain. If you wanted to chain it all together, then you use elif. Okay. And so we're going to do that, and we've done that already. And so now we're going to do a chain of if, elif, and then else. So else basically ends your if statement chain. So here we're seeing b is 33, a is 200. So this is false. Then we're going to check if this is true. If this is true, then we'll do this, but it's false. Else, it basically handles all of the things right here. Okay? And so if I wanted to, I could also do something like this, where I could say elif a is greater than or equal to b. Then let's see here. A is greater than or to b. So now we have that. So you can see here we have this chain going all the way down, and I could even move it up like this, and we would come here, check, that's false, come here, check, this is true, and then we wouldn't even, there's no need to do the rest of these because this is part of the chain. The chain has now been broken because this is true, so we do that, and then we dip out. And so the next thing that we have here is we have our one-liner if statement here, which is if a is greater than b, then print this. And so a is greater than b. And so here we have a one-liner if-else statement. And so we're saying if a is greater than b, then print a, else print b. So print a if a is greater than b, else print b. And so here we got b printed out here. And so here we're using the and statement, which we learned about a little bit earlier. So if a is greater than b and c is greater than a, both of these conditions are true. And at least one of these conditions has to be true for the or statement, like we talked about previously. And with the not statement, again, we spoke about that. A is not greater than b, so a greater than b, that is false. But then we're taking the not of that, so we're taking the opposite of the result. And a is not greater than b, so this is true. A is not greater than b. And here's where you can have if statements within if statements within if statements within else statements within if statements, and you can just keep stacking them and stacking them and stacking them. So We have is if x is greater than 10, which is true, print above 10. Then we check again, is x greater than 20, also above 20. Boom. And so we have that going on like that. And last, we have this pass right here, which you say here, if b is greater than a, just pass, and pass just basically means do nothing. And so those are all of the examples. Like I said, for the W3 school, I literally took all the examples that they had here. So there's really nothing else here. But if you need more and you want to just read about it, you can go there and read if you'd like. Okay, it is now time to go over for loops, which you will be using a lot. And so, as always, W3 school for more information on for loops. That's just a starting point. I got a lot of my examples from there, so you'll probably see a lot of redundancy if you go there. But first thing here is we're going to set fruits equal to this list right here. And we're going to go x in fruits. So we're going to say, give me apple, then give me banana, then give me cherry. And that's basically exactly what happens here. So for x in fruits, so x is going to just equal, it's just going to enumerate through each one of these. And here we have this x in bananas. And so again, we talked about earlier that these strings are treated as arrays. And so we're just going to basically print out B-A-N-A-N-A. And here we can do the same exact thing for numbers. Numbers is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can also just basically have, I just wanted to put this here as well. Well, I probably should have just put this down here like this and done it like this. Then we put this here. This would make a little bit more sense. So we have 4x in this list. So you can basically, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is you can put a list here, and then you can for loop through the list. So it doesn't have to be like saved as a variable and then put right here. You can just put the list right there if you'd like. And so for here, we have this thing break. And so what break will do is get you out of any of the loops that you have set. So we're going to be in this for loop going through the numbers. We're saying if x equals 3, then we will break it. And so here you'll see that we have this 1, 2, 3. So we're printing 1, we're printing 2, we're printing 3. Once we get to 3, we break and we're done with the loop. And so for continue, what that does is we'll have x is going to be 1, we'll print 1, x is going to be 2, we'll print 2. Once we get to 3, we're going to have this, and it's going to say continue, which means basically go back up to here and grab me the next piece of information in the series, and then we're going to go and change it to 4, and 4 equals, x equals 4. We're going to continue again. We're going to get the next number, which is going to be 5. X does not equal 5 here for this to be true, or whatever I'm trying to say. And, well, x equals 5, so that means that x is not 3 or 4, which is false, and so we'll go back down here to print x, which is what I was meaning to say. And so we'll have that, and then we'll go to 6, and then we'll be done. And that's why you see 1, 2, 3, and 4 are skipped, 5 and 6. So here we're going to do range, and so as you'll notice when we print this here, we start at 0 and go to 5. That is because along with the arrays, you know, when we did array 0:5, it would basically send us through 0 through 4. And so it's the same thing here. 6 is going to be, range 6 is going to start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then stop at 6, okay? So if you wanted 6, you have to go up to 7, okay? And here, because we are actually doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops, but we're printing 0 through 6, okay? So just make sure that you are remembering that whenever you're doing your loops. And so it's going to be the same thing here. When we do a range, we're basically saying, you can see here it says start, stop, step, start, stop, step. So if you just send 1, we're going to start at 0 and go all the way up to this -1 as far as the printing goes. Then here for the range, we're going to start at 2 and go all the way up to 6 -1, which we see here, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here you can do the step. And so here we're going to go from 0 through 30 in steps of 3. What's going to happen here? 0 through, again, if you wanted to get 30, you have to do 31. And we would end up going 0 all the way up to 30. Okay, and so these are very, very important. These last 3 right here, you're going to be using these a lot if you don't understand them. So just make sure that you understand them. Or again, what we're going to do. You go to W3 School. I got a lot of my information from up here, and you guys can check that out, or check out any other website that you think is good if you need more information to read. Here, I feel like I've given you enough information to work with for loops pretty efficiently. Now we're going to be going over functions for this lesson. And so, as always, W3 School. But again, I got a lot of my examples from there. So, but if you like to read, go ahead and check that out. So for a function, it's basically just a block of code which only runs when you call it. You can pass parameters and different things like that, but you can see here, we're not going to have any parameters. We're not going to send this function anything. We'll name it my function. It's just going to print out hello from a function. So if we run that, you'll see hello from a function. So if we remove this part and we just run the cell, you'll see that when you run the cell by itself, literally nothing happens. But when we actually just call it, you'll see like this. And you'll see that we also have to make sure that we have the parentheses next to it, because if we just do this, you're just going to basically return what it is. What type of, what is this type basically? And it'll tell you that it's basically a function. So if you want to call the function, you have to make sure that you have the parentheses afterwards. So here you can see that we have my function. It has a f name, which is a parameter, which is something that you can send to functions. And so you can see here, this function is, when it's created, it'll take this f name, put it into this print statement, plus this whatever this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this word is, but it's supposed to be a last name. I don't even know what type of last name this would be. Oh, that's what these are, like lorem ipsum. Okay, that's what it is. So here we have email whatever. Man, this is impossible. So we'll say Mike. This is going to be John. And this is going to be Lily. There we go. So f name Smith. Then we have here function Mike Smith, John Smith, Lily Smith. And so here we will, this is going to be Johnny. Is that how you spell Johnny? No. Mike. We already have Mike, but whatever. And this is going to be Smith here. Okay. So here with the function, you're passing two parameters. Okay. And so here we're going to print f name plus last name, function Mike Smith. Boom. We run it like that. And then let's get another function here. This will be Daisy Johnson. This is not how you spell Daisy. Daisy Johnson, okay? And so you can see here, Mike Smith, Daisy Johnson. So you're passing those. And for the first one, you don't have to send the parameters. But if you don't send the parameters, it's in the order, okay? Because if I switch this up, you'll see that it's going to be Smith Mike. So it doesn't, the function doesn't know which one it is. It just knows that this is the order for f name, l name. This is going to be f name, l name. So if you want to, you could actually, so you can see here, so I could take this and switch this down here. So it's l name first, f name second, and that's fine, because you're telling it, I want f name to equal Daisy, I want l name to equal Johnson. And so for me personally, I always, no matter if it's a function that has just one parameter, I always like to include this equals, just so that way I know what's happening. Also, if somebody else is looking at your code, they know what's happening. And so I like to do it like that. But again, it's up to you. And so here we have a function that has a default. And so here we have the country equals Norway is default. And so you can see here, I am from country. And when we run this, you'll see that we can override the default value. So Sweden is going to be, I am from Sweden, I am from India. And here, when we call the function without anything, you'll see that the string, it's going to be a string. It's Norway by default. And so here you can see here, I am from Norway, because if you don't send anything, it'll just put the default. And then you see here, I am from Brazil. And the next thing here is we can also return. You can do math in here. So if you don't know what you want, if you need the user's input or something like that, or you don't know what's going to happen, but you need to multiply this thing by 5, that's where these functions come into play. So here you can see we're sending in 3, and it's just going to do 5 times 3, my function, and then you print. And so also too, when you are returning things in a function, that is when you can store it as a variable. And so here you can see my function 5. So what would happen here is we're going to take this 5, put it into this equation. 5 times 5 is going to be 25, and that's what x is going to be stored as. And then here you can see that if we print x, you will see that we will get 25. So when you are returning something, you can store that as a variable. And so again, as always, Python functions from W3 school. Again, I got a lot of my examples from here, but again, it's, if you'd like to read, you guys can check that out there. For this video, we're going to be going over the basics of NumPy. As always, if you want to learn more, go to numpy.org/docs/stable/user/basics.html. The numpy.org docs is the place to go for anything related to NumPy, or you can try to go on Google and type in anything, but we'll just go over a nice little recap here of, or not a recap, but just going over the basics of some of the stuff that I'm using on a constant basis with NumPy. So here we have this import numpy as np, and so that's just gonna, instead of having to type numpy every single time like numpy.array, you just type np. So the very first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create an array. And so if we just run this, we have a equals np.array, and then you have to put your parentheses, and then you have to put your brackets, 1 2 3, close brackets, close the parentheses, and you will now have created a NumPy array. And here, this is an easy way to create a NumPy array of zeros. So this is going to just be an array the size of 2 with that is just filled with zeros. And so if I hover my mouse over this, you can see that we have this. It tells you exactly what you need here. And again, if you need more information on these, again, this is where you go to the NumPy docs. And here, if we want a NumPy array filled with ones, np.ones, this is 2. If we want just an empty array, then what we want to do is just run this. You can see here, we'll get an empty array. It says 1.1, 1.1, but this is just like filler text, I guess you could say. It doesn't actually have a, what do you call it? Information in there necessarily. So if we do this, you'll see it just comes up as these like random numbers and stuff like that. Again, these are just fillers, and so it's not actually filled with an actual number. So here, if we're trying to just create a range, what's going to happen here is np.arrange. It's going to give us 0 1 2 3, not up to 4. So if you wanted 4, again, you'd have to go to 5. So just whatever number you put here, just understand that you're going to go to 1 less than that number. And so here we'll just run this. So we have 0 1 2 3. And so here, what we're doing, again, if we hover our mouse over it, start, stop, step. And so here we have 2 through 9, all the way to 9 in steps of 2. So again, we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Like we talked about earlier, if you wanted it, you don't do this because then it's going to only give you 6. We needed to go all the way to 9. Okay, so 2, 9, 2, and we'll be in steps of 2. And then linspace, I don't use this that much, but I guess it's kind of important to know. So if we run this, you'll see that we're saying 0 through 10. So you see here the start stop number. And so here what we're saying is I want an array of size 5 with numbers between 0 and 10. And so it's going to do 0, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10. Okay, so that's what linear space does. And here for the ones, you see this thing, if you hover over, you see that there's this D type. And so here we can see with the ones we were given floats 1.1. And so if you wanted things to be ints, you could just do this D type underscore np dot int 64. And so here what are we looking at? Well, we have this D type int 64, 1 and 1. I normally like to just do int like this, and it'll just change these to ints. But if you want it to be int 64, 32, whatever number, then you can go ahead and do it this way. Either way is fine. 64 is fine. And so here we're going to create this array 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 7, 4, you know, whatever. And so the reason why we're creating that is because here we have this set to np.sort. Okay. np.sort is just going to literally sort the array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's one of the other functions that can be useful if you're trying to do that. I really haven't used it that often, but it just depends on how you want to run your strategy and stuff like that. And so here, the question becomes, how do you concatenate? How do you bring two arrays together? And well, the answer is right here. What we're doing is A equals 1, 2, 3, 4, B equals 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you just do np.concat. And you have A comma B, and now we're turning them both into your arrays, because unlike with lists where you can just do a list plus list and it'll concatenate them together, that actually does mathematics when you're dealing with arrays. And so here we're just creating this array example here. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so if we run this, you'll see that we have a three-dimensional array. Boom, has this, and has this. Okay, so this is like a 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, I think, 0, 0, 2, I think. So let's run this. We have number of dimensions is 3. The size is going to be, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's basically 24, right? 6 times 4. So we have 24 total elements inside of this. And then our shape is going to be 3, 2, 4. Okay, so forget what I said over here about the 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 3. That was completely wrong. So it's actually 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, and then 2, 0, 0. Because we have a shape of 3, 2, 4. So this is the third dimension. This is the rows, and then this is the columns. So I don't know. I don't know if we have a word actually for whatever this is called, but this would be the third dimension. These are the rows, and these are the columns. So here we have, we're going to just create this arrange right here, and this is going into reshaping. So if we wanted to reshape this, the reshape, you have to make sure that your math is correct to where it's like, whatever this number is, this number and this number have to multiply to be 6. Okay, because if you tried to do like 4 and 1 or whatever it is, it's not going to work. You'd have to do 3 and 2 or 1 and 6, or you could do 2 and 3. So if I did this, so it has to be in multiples of 6, because that's the size. So whatever the size is, this reshape has to be in multiples. And so here we have this. So this reshape right here, you have this new shape, and then we have A. And so here, what are we doing? We're saying A, new shape, and then we're saying 1 and 6. And so what that's doing is, you can see we went from a one-dimensional array to now we are a two-dimensional array. So that's what this 1 is right here. Okay. And then here we have our array again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even though, okay. And here, this, if we run this right here, you'll see that we are adding another axis. So here, this new shape 1 and 6 reshape is creating this and turning it into a two-dimensional array. This right here, this np.newAxis, remember, for the slicing side of things, we'll get into that in the next thing. We are adding a new dimension by doing np.newAxis. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've never used this before, and I'm very rarely reshaping or adding new dimensions and stuff like that to my arrays for my strategies and stuff like that. But, you know, who knows? Maybe this is something that you need to do. So I wanted to make sure that I included, because I do use reshaping every once in a while in the actual Quant Freedom code, but that's besides the point. So you can also have here, there's np.expand dimensions, and we're saying a axis 0, and again, that is going to add another dimension here. We've gone from a 1-dimensional array to a 2-dimensional array, okay? And so here, what we can do is you'll see here that we've added a new column. So we have row, 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 row. Okay, and so now we have that set up. So if you wanted to turn that into that, but this is anyways, we'll get to it in a second. So again, here we have expand dimensions. Axis 1 is going to turn this into multiple rows here that we have. Okay, so how does this work when it comes to how does NumPy work when it comes to mathematics? Well, if you run this, you'll see our call vector. If we do times 3, we are multiplying 3 by each one of these. So 3 times this, times this, times this, times this, times this, times this. And so that's what it comes, that's where we call it like vectorizing or vector based. And so this is where it differs from lists, is now since we're dealing with arrays, we're dealing with vectors. And so here, 3 times 3 times 3. Now, when it comes to dealing with adding or subtracting two arrays together, then you run this, and now we are adding 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 4 plus 4, 5 plus 5, 6 plus 6. And so it does this without having to do any types of for loops or any of that other stuff. So it's just vector. So I don't know, NumPy handles this in the backend side of things. And so you don't have to worry about any of that for loop stuff or any of that other stuff, which is absolutely amazing. And it's way faster than actually doing for loops and things like that. For this video, we're just going to be going over some indexing and slicing. As always, numpy.org/docs if you need to know more. But we're going to be covering some of the basics here. So import numpy as np. Then we're just going to have data equal np.array 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slice and say, give me 1. So this is 0, 1, 2. That's how the elements work here. 0, 1, 2 are the columns. 0, 1, 2. So if we do this, that means that we're going to be grabbing the number 2. So if we run this, boom, you'll see that we have number 2. So let me get rid of all the answers. So boom, we have number 2. So here, what we are going to be doing is saying, well, we don't actually have to have this 0. So we're going to say data colon 2, which means give me 0 and 1. Okay, because whenever, again, as always, this, just think of this as like -1. Okay, so you're going to be given 0, 1. So basically this is saying give me 2 of the columns. But in computer language, it's saying 0, 1, but that's actually two elements, right? So boom, we're going to get 1 and 2. Again, this 2 is representing 0 and 1, okay? And so for here, the exact opposite. When you say 1, that basically means this 1 right here. So when you're starting, you actually get this number. When you're ending, you're getting this number -1 as far as the columns go, okay? So when we run this, we're going to get 2 and 3. So you see here we have 2 and 3. And then this is saying go from the end and go back 2. And so this should give us 2 and 3 as well, okay? So negative means start from the back and go to the left. Okay, so that's what the -2 is. So if I did -1, that means it's going to grab the last element right here, -3. 3. And so that's how that works. Okay, and so for A, what we're going to do here is just create this simple 2-dimensional array that has row 1, row 2, row 3, and then we have 4 columns here. Okay. And we'll go over slicing that in just a second. Actually, we should probably do that first. So let's go ahead and move this up here like this. And copy this, bring it right here, and let's just go over the slicing a little bit here. So this 2 and 2 is basically saying, give me row 2 and then give me 2. So 0, 1, 2, right? So that's 0, 1, 2, and this is saying give me 2. 0, 1, 2. Okay? So again, when you're dealing with absolute numbers, that's what you're getting. And if we were to come down here and grab this, delete this, bring this bad boy up here. Oh, we already did that. So let's go ahead and do this right here. Boom. And let's say -1. Let's say 2. So what's happening here? We are saying, give me this 0, give me rows 0 and 1, because again, we're going up to 2. So 0 and 1, give me those rows, and then give me the last element in those rows, which is going to be 4 and 8. So if I copy this and paste this, and we come over here and we do, this is going to be like this. Then what happens here again? We're saying, give me 0 and 1, and then now we're saying, give me 0 and 1, and then 0 and 1. So that's how you get 1 and 2, and 5 and 6. Okay? And so that's how you're going to be doing a lot of your slicing when it comes to your NumPy arrays. And so here, what we're doing is now we're going to start to apply some mathematical operators to this. And so actually, I should probably do this first. So here, if we run this, we're basically saying, give me true wherever a is less than 5. And so we're saying true, 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 false, 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 right? Because this is what a looks like. So what this is saying, give me, return to me all of the elements in a where a is less than 5. And so we're saying true, 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 true. So it's going to only return row 0, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If I did this, let's see, 7, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Boom. And so that's how we get this. Again, if we do this greater than or equal to 5, we'll have false, 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 true, 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 true. And again, you could apply that inside of here, and it would give you the same exact thing. So here, this is just more of the same, where it's like a divided by a modular 2 equals 0. So this is basically saying, give me all of the even numbers. And so you'll be able to see that right there. It'll return that. So in a, give me all of the give me all of the give me all the elements where a divided by a modular 2 is 0, or a remainder 2 is 0. So here, what do we have here? This is a function basically saying, or not a function, but mathematical operator saying, where a is greater than 2 and a is less than 2, let me know, give me those elements. And it'll give you those elements. So you can put your ands in here. You can put like multiple ands and ors and different things like that. So here we're also saying the same thing. So where a is greater than 0 or a equals 5. Or a is greater than 5 or a equals 5. Boom. And we have this. Or we could say a is less than 11. And I should say, well, whatever. I don't want to think right now. I'm tired. A is greater than 5 or a equals 5. So that's how you get these true and falses. So I should probably switch this like this. True and falses, and then you apply that into here, and then you get the elements. Okay, and so let's just delete this because we've already done that. And so here, these non-zeros is basically saying the same exact thing. So let's run this again just to, shouldn't have deleted that. So we have this true, 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 right? So the non-zeros are going to show up right here in these trues. The falses are zeros. So inside of, computer talk, zeros is false, 1 is true. So this is non-zero. And so here, if we run this again, you basically apply the same exact thing. So you don't necessarily have to do this, but non-zero is an important thing to understand. But again, we've already gotten the same results by just doing this inside of A, as we've already seen previously. In this video, I'm going to be going over some of the NumPy functions that I'm using on a regular basis. And so again, as always, numpy.org for the docs if you need more information. But we're going to start out with import numpy as np, and then we're going to have our well, first I have to run this. So then we're going to come back, make this array again as well, np.array 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 to all the way up to 12, two-dimensional array with 3 rows and 4 columns. And so here for this a.sum, this is just going to basically take all of these and sum up everything. So everything that's in here, we're just doing like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus blah 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 blah, and that's the sum, right? And so for this min, what we're saying is find me the minimum value in this entire array. Okay, and if you need more information, you can also do axis. So if you wanted to just get like this column right here, you could say, or this row, or this column, or this column right here, this column right here, this column right here. That's when you can use axis. But again, if you need to, you can look up that information. This is just a brief overview. So here we have a.min. And so that's where you're looking, give me the minimum number here. Here, give me the maximum number. Again, this is saving so much time for instead of doing for loops through things. And cumulative sum here. Boom, we've got this. 1, 3, 6, 10. So we're returning the sum at each one of these all the way up to 78. So the sum right here just gives you 78. This is going to return the cumulative sum of all of these, which is very important sometimes, at least for me, when I'm doing my Quant Freedom, actually building the backtester for my strategy. I haven't used this, but it's an important thing to know. And for my strategy though, man, oh my God, this where function is used a lot, a lot. So np.where a is less than 5, it's basically saying where this is true, put np.nan, else put a, or we could just do 5, right? And so we're saying a is less than 5, where it's true, put nan, else put 5, okay? So you could do a if you'd like, and you could bring it back to that. So this is something that is very, very, very important, these numpy.where, np.where functions. And so now we have this mean. So now we're saying grab all of the information in A and give me the mean, which comes out to be 6.5. So now the point T, okay? And so what we were talking about in the previous, which was reshaping and changing the dimensions and different things like that, transpose basically does that. So it'll take this from a 3-4 matrix into a 4-3 matrix. And it'll take the first row and make it a column, the first column. Then we'll have the second row and we'll make it a column, third row, and make it a column right here. So that's what your transpose does, is it basically transposes, right? That's what transposes. Okay. And so for flatten, what this is going to do is going to take all the dimensions and flatten them into a one-dimensional array. And I actually just found this out. If you put like a.flatten or a.ones or a.mean or np.where, and then you put a comma after, a question mark afterwards, then it will bring up the NumPy docs. So if we go into this, oh, well, it's not going to be there. But this will bring up the docs, so you don't have to necessarily go to the documentation on NumPy, the website. You can just do this, and then it'll tell you what the doc string is, which is basically what they have on NumPy. And it'll tell you what it returns, the order, the parameters, and then different things. And here's some examples that it'll show you as well. So these are some of the functions that I'm normally using within NumPy. And again, if you need more, which I'm sure that we all will, again, numpy.org, and read the docs For today's video, we're going over the pandas basics, and if you want to learn more, pandas.pydata.org, go and check out their documentation. I spent a lot of time there. So what we're going to do here is import pandas as PD and then import numpy as np. So we'll run that to make sure that everything is good and we can use them. And so here what we're going to do is we're just going to create a pandas series, which is basically kind of like a numpy array except with an index. And so here we'll just run this, and you can see we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1, 3, 5, np.nan, 6 and 8, and they're all floats because np.nan is a float. So all of these things are going to be the same data type. And so here, what are we doing? We are doing a pd.date range, and we're basically saying from January 1st, 2013, give me 6 days. I guess that's what this is basically saying. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you can see the date type is date type 64 in S. So I guess that's nanoseconds. And then the frequency is D for day. And what we'll do now is we'll just create our data frame. Data frame equals pd.dataframe np.random.rand 6 and 4. So this is basically saying I want a 6 by 4, 6 rows, 4 columns array of random numbers. And so that's what we generate. We get our index equals dates, which is, we've already established what dates is. And then the columns is list A, B, C, D. So we have A, B, C, D as our columns. We have our dates as our index right here. And then we have our information of the data frame inside of that. So that's like the very, very simple way to create a data frame if you need to. And so for me personally, I don't really use pandas data frames that much because they are so extremely slow when it comes to calculations and different things like that. That's why I'm always using NumPy, but you know, we'll include this here just in case you want to. I only use it whenever I am trying to look at data, because we're looking at data through a NumPy array is kind of disgusting. But anyways, so here you can also create a data frame through creating a dictionary. And so here we have our keys, and then we have our information within those keys. And so if we run this, you'll see that we have our A column, B, C, D, E, F. And then our index, since we didn't set an index, it's just going to give us 0, 1, 2, 3 for our index. And so our A is going to be 1. Our timestamp is going to be this. Our date, PD timestamp is going to be this. Then our C, D, E is test train, and F is foo, 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 foo. And so if we do this for data types, we'll be able to see each one of these has their own data types for the column: 64, date time, float, int, category, and object. And here, if we wanted to start to slice through and see kind of what our data frame, like the information in our data frame in little chunks, I use the .head method a lot, because sometimes you'll have, like, I don't know, 6,000 rows or something like that, and you can do this .head. And you can also slice it just like we did with the NumPy array. Well, I thought that you could. I guess I lied. So here we have this 2. Well, actually, now that I take that back, that wouldn't make any sense because we're going to get into slicing and indexing later. So forget that I just said that. So df.head 2, this is just going to give us from 0 to 0, 2, 0, 2, and then tail is going to give us the last 3. So this is going to be our last one, second to last one, third to last one. So then head 2 is going to give you just 0, 2 all the way up to whatever you say, or 0 and 1. And so if we do our df.index, we are basically going to get back what we just created for dates. And so that's going to tell us, hey, I want the index of my data frame, boom, and then it comes out like this, and it shows you exactly what you have for your data frame. Here we can do the same thing, df.columns. It's going to give us a list of our columns, so basically our headers, and it'll tell you the data type of that as well. Again, when I was using pandas in the past, these two things were completely and totally essential, but like I said, I've basically moved away from pandas almost entirely. And here our df to numpy, you can see that we have this. It'll basically take everything, remove the indexes, remove the columns, and then just give you, I mean, basically all we're doing is returning this. You know, we're returning the information within the data frame. And so here, if we did df2.numpy, then we would be able to see that we get a numpy array, but it's an object. And so we have the timestamps and all of that other stuff, except it's just a numpy array format. And here, if we do df.describe, you'll be able to get like count, the mean of the, you know, standard deviation, minimum 25%, 50%, 75%, maximum. You can get all that information, but, you know, again, I'm not really using pandas data frames that much. So, but thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a, to be aware of it, because I do use it from time to time to display information. In this video, we're going to be talking about the pandas indexing and slicing. And so again, go to the pandas documentation if you need more on that. And so we'll go ahead and clear this. We'll run this, and it's basically the same thing that we talked about in the previous lesson. And so here we'll just get the date range, periods is 6, same exact thing, ABCD, and then we will go ahead and start with this data frame. And so here, if I wanted to just give me the information for column A, it's going to give me a pandas series. And so you can see here we have our index and we have our result for each one of these. So we're getting the rows, we're getting column A. And here, this is another way to get column A. So you just put your little brackets, and then you put your quotes, and then you put the title of whatever the column is, and you'll be able to get all of the information for that column. And so now if you come down here, if you wanted to get D, A, and D, and you can see that these are obviously further apart, you just put a list of the columns that you want, DF, A, and D, and that'll give you a data frame of A and D. And here you can do the numbers, the slicing like you do in NumPy, and that will return the rows. So here we're basically saying give me 0 and 3. And so this, in this situation, in NumPy, usually you would get 0, 1. Well, actually we're getting 0, 1, and 2. This 3 right here was throwing me off. So we're doing 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so that's what we're getting right there. Same exact thing as NumPy slicing and indexing. And here you can do the actual, you can put in what the date is or whatever your index is. If it's some type of, whatever your index is, you can put it in here and say start here and then end here. And so basically what we're grabbing is 2 through 4. So 2, 3, and 4. And so that's what we're doing right here. So you can grab the indexes like that, and it'll return all the rows within the indexes that you have selected. And here for dates, this is what we created up here, dates, the PD range. You'll see that if we just did 0, it's no different than how we were doing with NumPy. We're just grabbing the 0 thing right here. And so for this location, it says lock is primarily label based, but it may also be used with Boolean arrays. So this is how you get your information like this. Boom. So what we're saying is give me the row. I want the row associated with date 0, which is basically this right here, which is our first row. And it's giving us in a series, you have your columns as the index, and now you have your values from each one of those columns in the series. Okay. And so here, if we ran this, we're basically saying, give me all of the rows for the columns A and B. Okay, so this is exactly like how you're doing in NumPy. Give me all the rows for columns A and B. Okay, here we are saying, give me all of the columns that fit within this row. So basically just give me row this. And for here, again, like we showed earlier, you can do give me these rows from these columns. So I could even change this to D, and you'll be able to see we're getting these rows and these columns. So that'll help you slice and index exactly whatever it is that you need. And then again, if you wanted to get one particular value, lock dates 0A. So boom, and then you'll get this number to show up for you. And now for iLock, what is iLock doing? iLock is primarily integer position based. Okay, so now we're basically getting into how you slice an index with NumPy. That's basically what this is. So this is basically saying, give me row 3, right? And that's what we get, row 3. And here, what are we saying? 3, give me 3 and 4. And then this is saying, give me 0 and 1. So we don't even need this. So that's what we're getting. Give me 3 and 4. So this is 3 and 4, rows 3 and 4, and give me columns 0 and 1. 0 and 1. Okay. And here you can do the same thing that we talked about earlier. You're sending a list. Give me rows 1, 2, and 4, and give me columns 0 and 2. And that's what you'll get. So we have 2, 3, and 5 for the days, and then we have 0 and 2 for the columns. And our iLock right here, it's again just more slicing going on here. We're saying give me 1 and 2 for the rows and give me all of the columns. Here we're saying give me all of the rows and these columns right here. Give me columns 1 and 2. And here we're saying go to row 1 and give me the element in column 1. Okay, and so that's what you get right here. And again, this goes back to what we learned in NumPy. So here you're going to be able to get this true and false series that basically says wherever A is greater than 0.5, give me a true, else give me a false. And so you can apply that like we did in NumPy. df brackets this. And so it's basically going to say, give me all of the results where A is greater than 0.5. I'm doing a terrible job explaining this. So I had to change up this number here so that makes a little bit more sense. So we have this as 0.2. And so we're basically saying wherever A is greater than 0.2, return those rows, those rows. And so that's what we're getting here. This is greater than 2.2. This is greater than 0.2. And so wherever A is greater than 0.2, give me the results of the data frame. So that's why we are returning all of these rows right here. So give me the rows in the data frame where A is greater than 0.2. Okay. And so here we're saying, tell me where within the data frame that we are greater than 0. And give me all of that information. And so here you get all of this, and then we get np.nan values where it's false. So where it's true, you get the results. Where it's false, you get the nan values. And so again, this is how you are doing this through data frames. But again, I personally don't do this. I do everything in NumPy because Quant Freedom basically operates on NumPy. The whole thing operates on NumPy. None of it at all operates on pandas. But this is important though, because when you're looking through the results and you want to slice certain things and only return certain information and stuff like that, you're gonna use pandas in order to look, because looking through NumPy is extremely annoying. But when you're finished with your data, using pandas is very important. So that's why we're going over it. For this video, we're going to be going over how to download the data from Quant Freedom. And so here we have import NumPy as np, import plotly.graph objects as go, from quantfreedom.enums import candle body type, and then from quantfreedom.helper funcs import dl-ex candles and candles to df. And then here I just set np.setPrint options formatter equals float kind, and then I want it to be in this kind of a format here. So then I want to put this parentheses load e. I always do this with all of my whenever I'm using Jupyter Notebook. So that way it auto reloads. So anyways, let's just run this. So we have all of our imports ready to go. And so here, what I'm going to be doing is doing candles equals DL EX candles. And so you can see here at the time of making this, and again, if it could change, obviously I'm constantly updating this thing. And so make sure that if for whatever reason, it doesn't work like this at the time that you're using it, come to the Discord, go to the Twitter, go to the Telegram, go to the Discord, let me know that it doesn't work for you and ask me any questions there. Or you can just check the website and look for this function to see if anything has changed. But for now, this is the way it works. And so here you can come in here and let's actually look inside of this. And so what we're saying here is that the exchanges that we have as of right this minute, again, more will be added, but you have this Binance US, Binance USDM, Apex, Mufex, Bybit. And so we want to put the exchange that we want to use and download the candles from in the exchange right here. And so that's why we have exchange Binance US. The symbol that I'm using is going to be BTC USDT. Depending upon the exchange that you use, this will change possibly. Like I know if I get it from Apex, it's different. I think Mufex, it might be different. So just make sure that you guys have the correct symbol. And then the time frames are always going to be the same, at least as of right now. You're going to use 1M, 5M, 15M, 30M, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we're just going to do 1H. And then candles to download is going to be the amount of candles that we want to get. And so if I just put 500, it's going to say, give me the last 500 candles. But if you wanted to do since or until, we will do that really quick. So let's just copy this. And we did since date time. And so now we have to do date time, which means that we actually have to go up here and import, from date time, date time. Okay. And so we have to run that and date time. And then here we'll just put like 2020 0101. Whoops, not 0101, just 11. And so this is going to be for date time, year, month, day, hour, minute, seconds. So we don't need to put minutes, we don't need to put seconds or anything like that, because if we're downloading the time frames hours, we never really actually need to put seconds because you don't really necessarily deal with that. And so here we'll just start it out at hour 3 or something like that. And then for the until date time, now I want to go all the way until, I don't know, the 20th to hour 14. And I run that. And so if we look at our candles right here, you'll see that we have one starting at hour 3, and then we're going all the way to hour 14. So we're going up to hour 14. We don't want to download the 14th hour. We want to get up to the 14th hour. So that's why you see this all the way to 20. So that's how you can do your since date and your until date. But like I said, the candles to download is just going to say, give me the past 500 candles. And so this is what it looks like. You have your timestamp as your first column, open, high, low, close, and your volume. Okay. And so that's what we have as a NumPy array. And so in the previous section, we were talking about pandas. And that's why I was saying, if you're looking at your data and stuff like that, looking at it in NumPy array is it's not sexy. Let's just be real. It's not sexy. And so in order to sexify it, we need to come over here. And if you wanted to look at the data, that's why I just created this candles to df function. And we just throw it the candles and we run it, and you'll see here that we have it looking a lot more clean, a lot better and stuff like that. And so here we have our date times, and we also have our open, high, low, close, and our volume. Okay, but you don't have to save it as this. In fact, shouldn't really ever, none of the stuff that I use, we would ever be sending a pandas data frame of candles to anything. As of right now, making this today. So we're going to come down here, and now we're going to split the candle up into different variables, because sometimes when you're wanting to send certain information to like indicators and different things like that. You don't necessarily have to do this, but this is just showing you guys how to split up the candles. And so we've already gone over the slicing and the indexing for NumPy. And so here, this candle body type timestamp. And so here I'm saying, give me all the rows of candle body type timestamp. And so I'm saying, give me all of the rows of the timestamp right here. So give me all the rows of the column timestamp. Now, I'm going to run this because then we're doing open, high, low, close. And so I'm going to show you guys if we do this timestamp, it's just going to return all of the timestamps. Now this, again, for our slicing that we've already gone over, this is no different than this. So this candle body type, it's just going to return a number, which is 0. Because I'm saying this is column 0. This is column 0. And so just for me, I made this enums because it's just a million times easier to just say open, high, low, close instead of trying to be like, okay, which column is it, whatever it is. So that's why I created this and that's why I use this. And so, but like I said, I just wanted to show you guys that it returns a 0. So we'll do this, we'll do that. And so now NumPy has a datetime function as a type. And so here, if we do timestamp.asType date time 64 brackets ms, which is milliseconds, then it will take the timestamps and turn them all into date times. And so that's one of the things that we can do. And so just to look at the candles that we've downloaded, if you wanted to do that, we'll do go.figure with a capital, parentheses, data equals brackets, go.candlestick, parentheses. Then our x-axis is going to just be timestamp.asType datetime 64 ms. And then our open, high, low, close is going to be our open, high, low, close. And the name is going to be candles. And then I like to have my update layout height equals 800 and then x-axis range slider visible equals false. I don't like that range slider. And so if we just run this, we should be able to get what our candles look like. And so we can zoom in here and see exactly what's going on with the candles and stuff like that. And if you need to, you can zoom out. But this is how you download your candles for the most part. This is how you're really going to be downloading your candles and saving your candles and different things like that. So this goes over everything. And as always, if you guys have questions, Discord, Telegram, all that fun stuff. For this video, we're going to be going over the indicators that currently that I have for the Quant Freedom backtester. And so if you guys want to know what the updated versions are, or if there's any more that have been added, then you can always just go to the website, go to the indicators, and then you can check out everything that's going on over there. And if you need links to anything, always the Discord. Always, always, always. The answer, if you have any questions or something's not working or you don't know where something is, the answer to that is always going to be, if you can't find it on the website, ask it in Discord, or just go straight to Discord and ask there. So first thing that we're going to do is just start with our imports. As you guys can see, we're going to do import NumPy as in P, then from quantfreedom.enums, import candle body type, from quantfreedom.helperfuncs, import dlex candles, and then from quantfreedom.indicators.tv indicators, import star. This is just going to import everything. And then quantfreedom.plotting base import this. And again, I'm constantly updating Quant Freedom. So if these imports don't work, or maybe I haven't changed something or anything, this is exactly why. Again, you're going to the Discord to ask questions if you need to. So here, NP set print options, I just always normally set that. So we'll go ahead and run this cell. And then now we're going to download our candles, which we've already talked about. Here, we're going to store timestamp as the timestamp of the candles, and then close as the for the close. So we'll run that. And so now here, if I just type in like EMA or RSI. You'll see these RSI underscore TV show up. These are the indicators that I have for the back tester right now. So if I go over here, you can see this list. This is just the list that I have right now making this. Again, this could change, and this is also in the trading view indicators. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's going to be some other indicators in the future and stuff like that. Things are always changing, but as of right now, the trading view indicators, I have these the WMA, SMA, EMA, RMA, standard deviation, MACD, Bollinger Bands, true range, ATR, all of these different indicators here that you guys can use. And so if we're just going to type in, let's just say, what do we have here? EMA, RSI. Let's just do SMA. So we have SMA, and what it's going to happen, you just run this right here, and then you see that it says source and length. We need a source and length. So these are basically based off of TradingView. They give the exact same information, they give the exact same answers, they give the exact same everything that TradingView does as far as the numbers. So the SMA numbers are exactly the same, they show up on the plotting the exact same, everything. So here where our source is going to be close and our length is, I don't know, let's just say 20. And let's run that. And so you'll see here, what's going to get returned is a NumPy array of the SMA numbers. And then what we can do is come down here, and if we type in SMA, if we do plot SMA, so you can see here, that's from our plotting, our plotting base. And so this, we run this, well, let's actually save this. SMA equals this, and let's run that like that. And then here, we're going to say that we need to send the candles. So candles equals candles. And indicator equals SMA. And then the indicator color is going to be yellow, so that's fine. So here you can see here that we do have the SMA showing up. Now this, just plotting right here, all this is just showing you what the SMA looks like, just in case for whatever reason that you needed to see what it looks like on whatever candles you're downloading, just to verify that it's working properly. And so that's what we have for the SMA. Then again, if we come down here, we have the RSI trading view. This is the exact numbers of the RSI. You guys can even check out some of the videos. Some of these actually even have videos associated with them, showing you exactly how I calculated these things, just so you can verify that it's the exact same thing, but it is. And so here we have the plot RSI. So we provide the candles in the RSI. Now we have the RSI showing up in here in yellow. And EMA, we have the EMA here. Source is going to be closed, length is going to be 50. RSI, we had the source was the close, the length is 14 here. So this is just an overview. You guys don't have to necessarily follow along. I probably should have said that in the very beginning. But here we just have the EMA. This is just showing you the EMA. It's different than the SMA, obviously. And then here we have the squeeze momentum by Lazy Bear, and it's returning 3 different things. And here with the plot, the squeeze momentum, we're just sending it the candles, and the indicators indicator is just the squeeze momentum histogram. And so you can see here that the squeeze momentum histogram is showing up properly here as well. So again, the main thing is you can either just go to the website and check out the trading view indicators or all of the different indicators necessary, and then you can also just control click on this maybe and go in here and see exactly what is here as well. And like I said, some of these have videos associated with them. I just got to update. Yeah, you can see here we've got an explainer video on the standard deviation and different things like that. So yeah, I guess that's it for the indicators. And now we're going to move on to our creating the signals for the strategy. All right, for this video, we're going to be just creating the simple moving average strategy. And from there, well, anyways, let's just go ahead and start. So import NumPy as np, import plotly.graphObjects as go. From quantfreedom.enums, import candle body type. From quantfreedom.helperfuncs, import dlx candles. And from quantfreedom.indicators.tv indicators, import smatv. And then, as always, np.set print options. And so we'll run this. We'll get our candles. We'll set all of our candles So we're going to do timestamp. It's timestamp. Date time is going to be timestamp dot as type datetime 64 brackets ms. Okay, because that's going to turn our timestamps into date times. Then our open, high, low, close is going to be our candle body type dot open, high, low, and close. So again, we're getting all the rows and this particular column, and we're separating all of them. Okay, so we have our close showing up like that. All right, so like we learned in the last video, we talked about how we're just going to do the SMA underscore TV. The source is going to be close. The length for this one is going to be 20. And here we have the SMA slow, SMA TV. The length is going to be 60. So we'll go ahead and run both of those, and we're saving it as SMA fast and SMA slow. All right. And so now we're just going to get into the plotting, because you always, I can't say this enough, always make sure that you are plotting. Okay. Always make sure you're plotting, because it could, whatever you're doing could be wrong or could show up wrong or whatever it is. So you have to make sure that you are always plotting your result or your strategies. Okay. So go.figure parentheses, then we'll get a data equals bracket, because we're just going to have a list of different graph objects. Then here for the go.candlestick parentheses, and then we just have our x value is just going to be our date times, and then open equals open, high equals high, low equals low, close equals close, and then the name is just going to be candles. Okay, and then for our go.scatter, this is going to be our SMA fast. So we just do go.scatter, it has to be capital, and then we're going to put our parentheses, x equals date times, y values is going to equal SMA fast, name is going to equal SMA fast, and then the line color, I just chose light blue. You guys can choose whatever color that you would like. I'm choosing light blue. And then what you can do is you can just copy this, paste another one. Make sure you have your comma here and your comma here, right? So you just paste another one. Then you just change the Y value to slow. So SMA slow, name equals SMA slow. I change the line color to be yellow. And then you close your parentheses. Then here you close your brackets. Then you close your parentheses right here for the figure. And the next thing that you'll do is you just do update layout. Change it to whatever height that you would like. I have mine set to 800. And then I always get rid of this x-axis underscore range slider underscore visible equals false. And so if we run that, you'll see that it shows up like this. So we have our candles, SMA fast, SMA slow. And you can see here that we have everything showing up properly. And you can see that we have this. And everything looks absolutely perfectly. And we already know that these line up exactly like TradingView does, but if you, for whatever reason, want to, you guys can check those. Yeah, you can check them out if you want to. But as always, I highly suggest you always check everything, because I could have made a mistake. There could be like a rounding error somewhere, or whatever it is. And so it's like always plot. Always check your numbers. Check everything. Okay, I'm human. There are possibles that there's hidden bugs somewhere or something like that. So I've already checked these, but again, don't take my word for it, because this is going to be your money. This is going to be your strategy. So you always check. Always check. For this video, we're going to be creating the actual signals now for our strategy. And so we should have everything the same as far as all the way up to here, creating our SMA fast or our SMA slow. So we'll go ahead and run all those, get everything together. So we got our SMA fast, SMA slows, we got our candles downloaded. Everything is looking pretty good. So now the next thing that we need to do in order to create this strategy, which is just going to be, when the SMA fast crosses below the SMA slow, then that's a long. And well, let's see here. Let's just run all of this, and I'll just show you what the actual result is here. So it's going to be a lot easier to explain. So you see here, Actually, I said it earlier. Wrong the first time. So when the SMA fast crosses above the SMA slow, that's when it's time to long. And then when the SMA fast crosses below the SMA slow, that's when you sell. Okay, or you exit the strategy. So let's go ahead and remove all these. So anyways, let's run all these again. And so the first thing that we need to do is, in order to make it so that way we don't have like 50 million signals going in all the time, every single time that the SMA is above or below one another, we need to create the previous SMA fast. Okay. And so what does that look like? Well, that looks like this. We do np dot, so previous SMA fast equals np dot roll SMA fast, comma 1. Now, what does that look like? Well, that is basically this. You're taking all of the numbers in the SMA fast and you're shifting it all to the right one, and then the last one becomes the first one, which is the most annoying thing in the entire universe. I really, really, really wish that they had something to where it's like you could replace the first one with np.nan, but we have to do, in order to do that, we have to say the first one is going to be np.nan because we don't want the last one to be the first one. Okay, so previous SMA fast is 0. The first one, 0, first element equals np.nan. And then now we're going to come down here. Previous SMA slow equals np.roll SMA slow 1. Then we have the first element right here, and we're going to set that to np.nan. So we'll run that. We have our previous SMA fast and previous SMA slow. And so now what we're going to do here is we're going to say when the previous SMA fast is less than the previous SMA slow and the current SMA fast is greater than the current SMA slow. So we're basically saying we want to know when the previous SMA fast was under the SMA slow, and then the next one it's above. So that means there's a cross, right? We once were below and now we're above. There's a cross right there. And so we want to return all of the times when that's true. And you'll see here it's truncated, but yeah, we have a bunch of false values and a bunch of false values, okay? And in between we have some trues, as you've already seen in the graph. So what does that mean? So our true and false values are going to be our entries. Okay, it's true. Enter here. It's true. Enter here. Okay. And so here we have, we're going to store that. So we're just going to have this entries equals this. And so our cross above signals is going to be np.where entries, because this is just basically true and falses. Give me the SMA fast, comma, if it's false, put nan. Okay, this is just going to be our signals for our plotting. Okay, this is going to be our signals for our plotting. These entries right here are our signals for our strategy. This is our signals, cross above signal for our plotting. So then here, in order to get the selling portion, we need to know when the previous SMA fast was above the previous SMA slow and the current SMA fast is less than the current SMA slow. So that means we were above, now we are below. That is a crossing to the downside, which is our exits. So our exits is going to be this right here showing up. So let's, we got to run this, and let's run this. And so here we have our exits. Then we have our cross below signals for our plotting. np.where exits, SMA fast, np.nan. Okay, so now what we need for the way the backtester works right this minute is our exit prices. So we're going to do np.roll, np.where exits, give me the close. Okay, because that's what's going to happen is on the close of the candle, that's when the EMA gets set, right? So we have the close, and then now we have our np.nan, and we're going to roll it by 1, and we're going to fill the first element with np.nan. And the reason why we are shifting the exits is because you don't exit on the same candle that closed. That's literally impossible. The candle closes, then you exit on the very next candle at the open price, which is basically the close price of the previous candle, okay? And so that's why we're shifting our prices. And then for here, we have we go back to our go.figure and we have our scatters. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the signals to this, just to make sure that the signals are doing the thing that they need to be doing. So we have go.scatter, X is gonna be our date times, our Y is gonna be cross above signal, right? Because we have this cross above signal, and our mode is going to be markers because we just want to put markers on the chart. Our name is going to be entries. Then we have this marker dict, which is size equals 15, symbol equals circle, color equals this. Again, you can choose whatever color you want. I just have 00F6FF. The line equals dict. Width is going to be 1 and color is dark slate gray. So this is just going to put a nice little stroke around the circle so that way it's a lot easier to see. And so you will just copy this and we'll put another scatter plot down here for the exits. And so here we're going to change the Y value to cross below signal. Okay, cross below signal. Markers, name is going to be exit. We'll have the same exact thing. I just changed the symbol to triangle up. And then I changed the color to FF7B00. And then I left the rest the same. And then as always, we have the update layout, height 800, x-axis range slider. And that's how you run this. And then that's how you get your signals. So we can see here in this situation, is this working properly? Yes. So we go, let's zoom in really close so you can see here. This candle right here, we were below. In this candle right here, we are above, and the signals are looking like they're working properly. So let's zoom out. Let's zoom back in over here for this thing right here. And so you can see here, boom, as soon as we cross below, we have our exit signal that shows up. And again, let's see if we can do this. Okay, here we go. So we have it on this. All right, and so our signals are showing up. Everything is looking nice and sexy. So now what we have to do next is actually take this strategy and put it into our backtester. So now we have to create a strategy class that is going to work properly for the backtester. All right, for this video, we're going to be going over the exchange settings. And yeah. So as always, everything is being updated. So if it doesn't work or it's changed, check the website for exchange settings. And if you can't find the solution there, you can always ask the Discord. Okay, so for me, I am going to have this my stuff import Mufex keys. Then the exchange that I'm using is the Mufex exchange. You guys can use whatever exchange that you want, but just pay attention. I'm showing you guys why I'm doing this. So from quantfreedom.exchange, Mufex exchange, Mufex, import Mufex. Then the enums from quantfreedom.enums, position mode type and leverage mode type, and then exchange settings. And then from quantfreedom.utils, import pretty QF. And so we'll run this. And the next thing that we'll do is I'm creating my Mufex here. So this is just the Mufex exchange. I'm having my API keys, which is in my stuff. I have my secret key, which is in my stuff here, and then the use testnet is going to be false. So now I've basically just created a Mufex exchange, and so I have that set there. And so when I do that, now inside of Mufex main, I have this .set exchange setting. So again, if you wanted to use Binance or any of these others, they should also have this. If they doesn't, or it doesn't work, or you don't understand it, again, website or Discord for questions. But anyways, so here with this class, I'm calling the function inside of this, which basically is going to set our exchange settings. And so here I'm saying, I want to trade the symbol BTC USDT. I want my position mode to be a hedge mode. With the position mode type, you can have, as of right now, you can have one-way mode, or you can just do buy only, you can do sell only, or you can do hedge mode. Again, that's at the current recording of the video. I always like to choose hedge mode. Then for the leverage mode, you can either do cross or isolated. We're choosing isolated here. So when I run this, what ends up happening is we end up creating if I do this, exchange settings, we now have this, and this looks disgusting. So I've created, as far as the printout goes, so I've created a function that basically prints it out to make it look nice and neat like this. And so here you can see we have our asset tick step, our leverage mode, or leverage tick step, and all of this other stuff, okay? I'm going to explain what all of this stuff is because maybe some of you guys don't want to hook it up or don't want to do all that stuff. Well, you still have to make your exchange settings. And so here, if we come down here, we'll see this. So you can just basically call exchange settings like this, put your parentheses, and now you can fill it in manually. And so here, the asset tick step, that's basically, since I'm going to be trading Bitcoin on the MUFEX website, you can do 0.001 Bitcoin. So there's 3 steps, 0.001. So that's 3 steps. So that's what the asset tick step is 3. Okay. Then the leverage mode is obviously leverage mode type is isolated. Then our leverage tick step. The leverage tick step for MUFEX Bitcoin is 2. So you can do like 100.56, 100.57, you know, so on and so on. So there's 2 steps for that, okay? Then the limit fee percent for MUFEX is 0.0003. The market fee is 0.0006. Wait a minute. I think they might have just reduced their limit fees and market fees. Wow, okay. I gotta check on that. Max asset size is 100. In fact, I need to check now. Okay, so your market fees and our limit fees, and then here the max asset size. So the biggest size that I can put in for a trade on Bitcoin, according to, for MUFEX, is 100. So I can trade up to 100 Bitcoin, which is insane. Then the max leverage for MUFEX is 150. The minimum asset size that I can trade with is the minimum I can trade is 0.001 Bitcoin. The minimum leverage I can have is 1 leverage, 1.0. And the MMR percent is 0.004. So MMR is the maintenance margin rate, okay? And so that here in MUFEX, it's 0.004. The position mode, okay? So the position mode is going to be 3, and the price tick step is going to be 1. And the position mode is just either going to be hedge mode. So we should actually bring this over here and put this here because position mode type.hedge mode is 3. And then the price tick step is 1 for BTC. So you can have like 3,000.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, whatever it is. So their price tick step is just 0.1. And so you have to make sure that whatever exchange that you're using, you fill everything out properly, because when the backtester is running, it's going to use this information to check certain things, to assess certain things. And so this information has to be correct in order for you to run a proper backtest. So if we just run this, you'll see that it shows up like that, which is extremely ugly. And so, but it's going to basically be the same exact thing here. So if we just run this like so, then it prints out like this. Okay. And so that is why you need the exchange settings. Now we're going to be going over the backtest settings. And so here we're going to do from quantfreedom.edums, import backtest settings, from quantfreedom.utils, import prettyqf. And then here we're going to have prettyqf underscore or parentheses named tuple, or we could just put it like this. And that's not going to work because we have to run the cell and then run this. And so here for the backtesting settings, we have our gains percent filter. So what this will do is basically at the end of your strategy, you get the backtest, you get a gains percent. And so let's move over here and I'll show you guys really quickly. So here we have this gains percent. And so you can see here, just with this strategy that I ran for the strategy I ran, you have negative 22% gains, negative 12, negative 12, negative 11, negative 11. Okay, and this is just messing around, making sure that this works. So what you'd want to do is when you're really actually testing out a strategy, you'd probably want to have a gains percent filter of like 0. Like, because who cares about anything that lost me money? I don't need to see anything that lost me money. And so that's also going to save you on memory as well. And so here you'd probably want to have a gains percent filter. But when you're first testing to make sure that your strategy actually is going to backtest properly and stuff, you don't want to test that many things. And so you probably just want to leave it as negative infinity. And then here we have the next thing that we have is a QF filter, which is my Quant Freedom filter, and that's a QF score. And so that's the QF score here. And so what we want to make sure is that we're dealing with something that also is probably above 0. That's usually what you want. If I'm being honest, as far as what I have found, having a Quant Freedom score of like 0.8 and above is the best, because this score basically tells you how straight to the upside your strategy is. Okay, so the more straight to the upside it is, the better. Okay, and so you'd want a QF score of like 0.8, 0.9. If you can get like a 0.97, I mean, that means you're basically dealing with basically no drawdown. Okay, and so that's what the QF score filter is. The total trades filter is pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes if you're doing a strategy over like 5 months, 6 months, you're dealing with like thousands upon thousands of candles, you might not want a strategy that only traded 2 times or something like that, but it all depends on whatever it is that you're looking for. And then the last is record size, and this is going to be the array size of how big the record is going to be. And so the record is basically this thing. So in this situation, we only had a total of these 5 right here. And so, you could have made the record size like 10 or something like that. And this is just to save memory. Even if this thing is 10,000, at the end of the back test, it's going to actually cut it down to only the things that are necessary. Okay. And so all of these is basically to help save you on memory. Because again, there is no reason, if you're backtesting and you have like 30,000 different possible combinations and results or whatever it is going to be, that you would need to report all 30,000 of those, because some of them are going to be the results are going to be so atrociously bad that it's like, who cares? And so you can reduce the amount of memory that you're using, because why do you need to have 30,000 things taking up so much memory? It doesn't make any sense. And so that's why I built that. And so here again, if you just run it like this is the default settings. If you want to actually create some filters here, you can do like this. Backtest settings, gain percent filters equals 10, let's just say. QF filter is 0.5, let's say. Total trades is 10, and then the record size is 500. Okay, and so these are some of the filters that you can apply based off of whatever it is that you're looking for. And when you run it, you'll see that it shows up like that. I just reran what we were looking at just to show you guys a better results, I guess you could say, as far as like what is actually going to show up here. And so you can see here we have our gains percent. It's looking a lot better. Win rate, you can see here it only took 4 trades. I guess it won all of them. And so you can see here the QF score is different, 0.69, 0.88, 0.89, 0.9, and so on and so on. And so here you'll be able to see that we have this showing up for, that's going to tell you what our QF score is. And so here we have this 2, and we're grabbing this. So this is a 0.9. And if we have a 0.975, let's go and grab that. So this is 1. You're going to be learning about this later on, so you don't have to worry about this right now. I'm just showing you. So this is basically kind of close to the same, but it's a little bit slightly more to the upside here towards the end. Okay. But anyways, that's why having a QF score basically is like, letting you know how straight to the upside your cumulative P&L is. For today's video, we're going to be going over the static order settings. And so what you'll need to do is from quantfreedom.enums, import static order settings, increase position type, leverage strategy type, stop loss strategy type, take profit strategy type. And you'll also need quantfreedom.utils import QF, a pretty QF. And so what this is basically going to do here is set up certain things for our backtester and our order that is, for the most part, not going to change. Okay. And for the most part, I mean, literally it's not going to change until we actually wanted to change it after the backtest is over. And so here we have the static order settings. So as always, this is subject to change. You guys have already heard it a million times if you've made it this far. Ask in the Discord and check the website for any updates to this. So we have this increased position type. Now, there are multiple different types of this. As of right now, there's these 5, but as time goes on, there will possibly be more. Some will be taken away. But for the sake of this strategy, what we're going to do here is we're going to choose risk percent account entry size. So what this basically means is I want my entry size to be based around how much of my account that I want to risk. Okay, so if I have $1,000 in my equity, and I say that I want to risk 1% of that per trade, well, then that means that before having won or lost any trades, we would end up having risk $10. Okay, because 10 is 1% of 1,000. Okay, so that's what this is basically saying. Whatever my equity is, I want to risk the certain percentage of that. And we're gonna, once we get into the dynamic order settings and stuff like that, we're gonna go over those things. Here, the leverage type, as of right now, we only have 2, which is static and dynamic. Dynamic will basically change your leverage to be like 0.01% or 0.001% below your stop loss. So that way you will use a high amount, as high a possible leverage as you can, which will allow you to have as much unused cash as possible, which means you can enter more trades. You can go and enter more trades on other coins and other things like that because you're not using up all of your available balance. So the higher the leverage that you use, the more you're borrowing. Okay. And leverage is not as scary as everybody on the internet makes it out to be. Most of the people don't actually have any idea how leverage works. And so if you have any questions about that, again, join the Discord join the Discord and ask the Discord. PG min max stop loss break even candle body type. So this is if you're going to use the stop loss strategy type, which is what we're doing here, which is based on candle body. So it's like, well, I'm basically saying put my stop loss at the low, put my stop loss at the high, put my stop loss at the whatever. So based on the candle body. Okay, and so that's what we have chosen here. And so for this is going to be a long strategy. And so I'm going to base my stop loss on the low of the candles. So I'm going to say, let's look back 10 candles, 20 candles, whatever it is. And out of those 20 candles, give me the minimum price. Give me the minimum, whatever is the minimum. So this is going to help you find it. And let's say if you were shorting, you'd probably want to go based off the high and you'd want to say, give me the maximum, right? And so this is where you'd want to put either min or max. And then our stop loss strategy type, again, there's multiples, or I think there's multiples. No, well, actually there's only one right now, but that is subject to change, obviously. But this is the strategy types, okay? And again, each one of these strategy types is going to have information about it as well on the website, so go ahead and check those out. There should also eventually be videos associated with it as well. But again, if you have any questions about any of these strategy types, the website or Discord is going to be your best bet for a deeper dive into it. And so for this strategy, we're going to say I don't want to move my stop loss to break even. The starting bar is going to be 15. So what that basically means is, let's say that we have a an EMA of like 20. Well, the first couple of like 21, bar 21, 22, 23, 24, those are going to be a little bit crazy because there's not that much information there to average. You know, if we're only like at bar 23, well, there's only 3 bars to look at to grab an EMA average, or there's 23 bars. So usually the average starts to kick up maybe around like bar 30 or bar 40 or bar 50, let's say. That's when it starts to really get solid, because there's enough information there to calculate a pretty good solid average. And so that's what this is right here. Is I want to start at bar 50, because I know that any bars previous to that, the numbers get kind of crazy, because there's just not enough information there to generate enough average. So that's what starting bar is. Starting equity is pretty self-explanatory. You know, we're starting with 1,000. The static leverage, we're using dynamic. So if we were using static, then we'd obviously have to provide like, you know, a static leverage that's always going to be used. The take profit fee type, you could be trying to market out, you could be trying to limit out, you could be trying to whatever. In this situation, since we are going to be exiting based off of the indicator, we'll just need to market, because that's just what we're going to do. Market. Okay. And the take profit strategy type, we have risk to reward. Here we have provided. So we are going to be using provided for this strategy, because we are going to be providing our exits like we've already seen in the previous video. Okay. And then we want to also trail our stop loss. So trail stop loss bool. So we're going to say true. And then this Z or E is basically zero or entry type. And that's going to be associated with a stop loss to break even. And so here you'd either put 0 or you'd put entry in actual word. So you'd type in 0 or you type in entry. And that would decide whether or not you want to move your stop loss to for break even, to make it so that way if you get stopped out you lose $0, or if you move it to entry, because if you move it to your entry there's still fees associated with that, and so you're not actually going to be breaking even if you move your stop loss to entry. You're going to actually lose money based off of how much fees you have to pay. And 0 is going to move your stop loss like slightly in front of your average entry, in order to make sure that you actually lose like basically $0. And so that's what all of this static order settings is for. And so you'll see here, we run it like this. Okay. And that's the static order settings. All right, we've got the dynamic order settings arrays showing up now for what it is we're going to be learning. And so first we're going to have to import numpy as np. Next, we'll have to do from quantfreedom.enums import dynamic order settings arrays and candle body type. And then we'll also from quantfreedom.utils import prettyqf. Okay, so what do we have? What is associated with this? Again, as always, as of right now, this is the way it is. Any updates are on the website or in the Discord if you have questions. So the dynamic order settings array, we have our maximum equity risk. And so let's say that I'm basically saying here, the maximum I want to have at risk with any of my trades right now is 12% of my equity. Okay? And that is going to be associated with risk account percent size. So this is 3. So if we do 3 divided by 12, that means we can get into basically 4 separate trades. And then we would be at 12% total risk. And then it'll stop. We can't, there's no more entering here. Okay. And so the next thing, maximum trades. Maximum trades is associated when you are not using your risk account percent size or any of this other risk stuff. Because if we're talking about risk, we're going to be, our max equity risk is going to be the thing that determines how many trades that we're entering. And if we're not using max equity risk, then our max trades is what will determine how many trades that we can get into. okay? And then here we have our risk to reward. Again, I set this to 0 because we're going to be providing the exits, and so we're not going to be doing anything associated with that here. But obviously risk to reward is, you put your stop loss and then your risk to reward goes, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1. And so you can put multiples there. So here, talking about multiples, we have our stop loss based on add percent. So this is basically saying, hey, if we have a stop loss and it's based on a candle body, we want to maybe, like, let's say we're going to put our stop loss at the low. Sometimes you might want to put it directly at the low where you could put 0. So let's put 0 here. And, or you could put, I want to add an extra 0.05%. I want to test it out to see how we do if we add 0.1%. I want to see how we do if we add 0.15%, and so on and so on. So you could test a whole bunch of different possibilities with this. And then here we have our stop loss based on look back. And so here I'm saying look back 20 candles from where we're at and tell me whatever the lowest candle is at that point, put my stop loss there. Okay. And so that's what this means. Again, you could have it like, I want to test looking back 20 candles. I want to test looking back 50 candles. And so it'll do all of that. And so here, this right here is if we have chosen this BCB means based on candle body. So the stop loss based on candle body type. If we have chosen it, we need to put a candle body type, and here I'm saying candle body type dot low. So because I'm doing a long, I want to have it set to the candle body low. And then here, this is stop loss to break even candle body type. So this is we're not going to be working with this, and so we're just going to put nothing here. But this to break even basically means it's going to be associated with this. And so what this is saying is, I want to move my stop loss to break even when we are X% away from the low, the high, the close, the open of a candle body. So what would happen is, we'd get to a certain candle. It would check to see if our average entry is this % away from whatever candle body that we are saying right here for the current candle that it's looking at. If we are, then it'll move the stop loss, and if we're not, then we won't. But again, we've already chosen that we're not going to move our stop loss to break even, and so this can just be nothing, and this can just be 0. So here, this is trailing stop loss based on candle body type. So here we are saying, and it's also going to be associated with this and this. And so what we're saying here is when the price, right here, when the price is 1% away from the current candle low, trail my stop loss by 0.5%. Okay? And then as it trails, we're basically saying, is the low 1% away from or more, or yeah, is the low let's do this. Okay, so we have this, and we're gonna say here our stop loss would be like right here. Okay, and so let's say that the price is right here. Let's just say our stop loss thing is like 0.5%. Okay, and so what would happen here is that, and we're choosing the low, so our stop loss is there. And then next thing you know, okay, well, now we're here, so we're going to trail. Now we trail it. And then as it moves up, it moves up, it moves up, it moves up. Here we're 0.5% away. So right here we're 0.5% away. And so now we're going to trail it up a little bit. And then here we're not, as price comes down and then we come up, boom, the next low is right here. So now we're going to go ahead and trail our stop loss up. And we're going to move it up to here. We get our low like this. We move our stop loss to like right here. And now we're going to come up to here. And I guess the low, let's say the low is right here. And then as you can see here, we don't have any more lows. Boom, 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 boom. And then we get stopped out. So that's the way this whole trailing situation works. And so that's what we're saying here with all of this. All right. And again, Hopefully that makes sense. Again, as always, if it doesn't, you're hitting the website or you're hitting the Discord to ask some questions. For this video, we're going to be creating the init of the class for the strategy, so that way we can run it in the backtester. Okay, and so what you'll need is what we've got going on here, which let me increase the size of this. So we have the numpy as np, plotly.graphObjects as go, from logger, get logger, from typing import name tuple. Then from the quant freedom, quantfreedom.helpers, cart product, quant freedom dot indicators dot TV indicators, SMA TV, and so on and so on. You guys can read these right here. So pause the video if you need to make sure that you have all these imported, and then we'll get started here. So the very first thing that we need to do in order to make this work with the current version of the backtester, as always, Discord for if anything's not working. There's changes constantly happening, and so you let me know what's going on. All right. So here we have first thing that we need to do is we create a class. We're going to create a named tuple. Okay, and the named tuple is going to be indicator settings arrays. Named tuple. So what this is just basically a tuple with names. That's literally all it is. Regular tuple doesn't have any names. A list doesn't have any names, but that's what we're doing here. And so first thing that we're going to do is we're going to say SMA fast length. And we're going to say that's an np.array. Then we're going to duplicate that, and we're just going to change this to slow. So that's it for this. Indicator settings arrays, name tuple, so on and so on. All right, so now that we have that, what we need to do is now create the actual class for the strategy. So we're going to do class SMA crossing strategy. So what we're doing here is we're creating a class, and we're also importing the strategy class. And so that's going to, well, anyways, you just need to import the strategy class because that is the, whatever. The init file, the init. So here we're creating the init, which is initializing the class, okay? And if you guys don't know about classes, if you guys don't know what's going on, as it's hard to explain right now because we have nothing there. And so that's why I was trying to, it's a little bit hard for me to explain what strategy is as far as why we're importing it. So as time goes on, you guys will start to understand what the self is and everything associated with classes. But if you obviously need more, then you can search up classes and objects on YouTube and try to take a look at that. But anyways, so what we'll need to do is here, just do pass. And so what we need to do here is when we're initiating the class, we need to first, we're going to send it the fast length, np.array. And then here we're going to do SMA slow length, np.array. And next, what we'll need to do is we're going to do self.longShort equals long short. And again, there's going to be examples of how we use this class later on. So just understand that self.longShort equals long short, which basically means we're going to be able to create this class, and then by doing like strategy.longShort, we'll be able to get whatever this was. Again, this is so impossible to explain if you don't understand about classes without having examples. So first we need our cart arrays. And so cart product is going to be indicator settings array. Then we're going to say SMA fast length is SMA fast length. And we're going to say SMA slow length is SMA slow length. So what this is going to do is return us the Cartesian product of SMA slow length and SMA fast length. Did I do slow twice? Oh God, thank God I So what that is going to be like, let's say that you have 10 and 20, and then you have 20 and 30. Well, it's going to do 10 and 30, 10 and 40, and then 20 and 30, and then 20 and 40. That's what the Cartesian product will do. Okay? And so that's what we're going to need to return here. So we need to get all of the possible combinations is basically what we're getting. All of the possible combinations here. Okay? So now what we need to do is do SMA fast equals cart arrays 0 dot as type np dot int. And then what we'll do here is we're going to duplicate that and do slow length. I'm going to say cart 1. Okay? And so, like I said, we will get, let's say that this was 10 and 20 and this was 30 and 40. So what this would end up giving us is the cart array 0 would be 10 and 10 because it's going to be 10, 30, 10, 40. And then it would be 20, 20 because it would be 20, 30, 20, 40, right? And then this one right here would be 30, 40, and then 30, 40. Okay, so it's going to be, that's what the, it's going to be in this array. Again, we're going to be able to show all of this later, but that's what it would be for an example. So now what we need to do is get the SMA bulls equals SMA fast is less than or equal to SMA slow. So the reason why we're doing this is because we don't want any of the moving averages, the simple moving averages for the slow length to be less than the fast length, because then that would basically make the slow length the fast length, and the fast length would end up being the slow length. So we don't need that. The fast length always has to be less than the slow length. So we're basically saying here, tell me where it is true that the SMA fast length is less than or equal to the slow length. And we actually need to change this to less than. Because we don't need them to be equal, because then it'll be the exact same thing, right? Okay, so that's going to be that. And then what we're going to do here from there is now we're going to do self.indicator settings array. Arrays is going to be indicator settings arrays equals. So this colon is just basically saying, hey, this variable is going to be of type this. Okay. And so indicator settings arrays. Now we're going to say SMA fast length equals SMA bulls. And now we're going to say this is going to be the slow, and this is going to be slow. So we're basically saying, okay, we have our cart array, and we have our array. It's in here, and we need to change them to ints because the cart array returns everything as floats. So we're basically saying, look inside of this and only give me the results where the SMA fast length is less than the SMA slow length. Okay? So where that is true, return me all of the elements within fast. And it's going to be the same thing. Wherever this is true, return me all of the elements that are in the slow length. Okay, so that's going to get rid of any situation where the SMA fast is greater than or equal to the SMA slow length. Okay? Because again, like I already explained why we need to do that. So now what we will have is you could think of this as kind of like a two-dimensional array. So inside of this, we're going to have an array of fast length, and we're going to have an array of slow length, except it's going to be a named tuple. So this is going to be a named tuple, and SMA fast length is going to be an array. SMA slow length is going to be an array. Okay. So now the next thing that we need to do for the backtester is we're going to do if long short equals long. Then we need to do self dot set entries exits arrays equals self dot long set entries exits array. Okay. Next, self dot log indicator settings equals self dot long log indicator settings. Okay. And we're going to be creating these functions in a little bit after we're done with this. So self.entry message equals self.long entry message. All right. Then we're going to say else. Else, if it's not long, then we're going to go short. So we'll duplicate all of these and move it down here. And we're just going to change wherever it says long to short. So I'm going to basically I'm saying within this selection that I have, find long and change it to short. All right. So now that we have that, we are going to come down here and inside, still within this class, we're going to start to create some of these functions. And so we'll do that next. All right. Okay. So now we've gone through and finished doing all of the init, so initializing the class, and so now we have to start creating some of the functions that we're actually going to need to use. And so here I'm just going to borrow this little section of code right here, and this way it will just be easy to separate it. So we're going to do def long, let's grab this like this. We're going to include self. You have to include self for everything. Then we're going to do candles, np.array, and we're going to do end set index. And this is going to be the indicator setting index that we're going to use. So here. All right. So now the first thing that we need to do is just do try. Okay, and I like to use try because it helps catch any problems that you have and lets your lets the program know, lets your log know that, hey, there are some errors here. So closes equals candles. We've done this before. Candle body type dot close, and we have to do except pass, just so that way everything formats. Then we're going to say this is going to be SMA fast, and so we'll do self.SMA fast length. It's going to be self.indicator settings array.SMA fast. That's going to be indicator setting. So the way the backtest works is it just goes, if there's, take for the instance that we had 10 and 20 and then 20 and 10 and 20 and then 30 and 40, which means that we'll have a total of 4 possible combinations. 10 and 30, 10 and 40, 20 and 30, 20 and 40. Right? So what we're going to do here is grab the first set, which would be 10. Okay, then we would go to the next one and grab 10, and then go to the next one and grab 20, and go to the next one and grab 20. And so this is why we're doing that. So we're going to say SMA fast equals SMA. We're going to say source is closes, and we're going to do length is going to equal self.SMA fast length. Okay, now I'll put a comma here. And next we'll do self.SMA fast equals np.around SMA fast 2. So we're just basically taking all of the answers that we get from the SMA fast and we're rounding it by 2. Rounding it to the 2 decimal places. So now we got to do self.SMA fast. Again, we've done this before. np.roll self.SMA fast 1. What in the world? Oh, we have this. Okay. And like we've already done, self.previous SMA fast 0 equals np.nan. And here, what we're doing is we have this logger.info. F created SMA fast length equals this, and that's for our log files that we end up creating. Okay. And for our log files, that's basically just a whole gigantic amount of information about everything that happened with our back test. So you can see here, it tells you everything that's going on. As you're going through the loops, it tells you when you entered, it tells you all of your average entries and everything like that. And so that's what we've done over here. So that's going to be adding to this. Okay. All right, let's now do the SMA fast. I mean, SMA slow. So all we'll need to do is duplicate this. And we'll move it down. And then here I'm going to highlight everything, Control F, find in selection fast, and change it to slow. So this is going to be fast, slow, 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 slow. All right, so that makes sense. And then the next thing that we need to do is now we need to create our entries and our exits. So again, we've already done all of this before. So we could go back over to our information and grab all that. So let me go ahead and do that. So I think we are here, the signals, and you can grab all that information from here and copy and paste it in. Okay. And so let's go ahead and go back over to where we were at. And I'm just going to copy and paste everything in for our entries because we've already done all of this. So here we have, here we're going to have this as exits. And so here for our entries, we're just going to have entries equals. So if you're copying it over, the main thing that you'll have is you won't have these self. You won't have this self. And so again, we need to have this self so that way we can call this in any other function. So the self, when you're working with a class, the self lets it go across all of the different functions. It's kind of, think of it like a global variable or a global function or anything like that when you're including self. Okay, so self makes it so that it can go everywhere. So you want to add self to this right here. You want to add self to this. You want to add self to this and this. You can see where we've added self. And then we want to save it as self.entries because we're going to need to use that later on. Then here, we're going to do self.cross above signal. Remember, we've already done that before. And so again, where self.entries, SMA fast, np.nan, and then here you want to just have the logger.info, created entries, and cross above signals. So that way, again, when we're looking at our logs, we know what exactly happened. Actually, this is going to be debug. This is going to be debug. This is going to be debug. Okay. So the debug is basically just like, oh wait, this is actually info. So the debug is more for like just literally debugging, and info is for something that's like a little bit, it's a little bit more important than, or it's more important than debugging info. Okay. And so here again, we have our self dot, and I did not save the exits as self because we're not actually going to use that. We're going to use the prices. And so here we have got the self.cross below signal is going to be exits because again we don't have to put self here because we don't need exits to go different places within this function or outside of the function. I mean outside of the class or inside of the class. And then here, but we do need this to go outside to another function. We need this to go outside to another function and other places. And so we have our np.roll, np.where, exits, comma, closes, comma, np.nan, comma, 1. So basically we're saying we're doing this, and then after this is done, we're going to roll it by 1 to move the exit price. Okay. And again, you can't exit on the same candle that's closed because once it closes, it's over. And so you have to exit on the next candle, which is going to be the open. So the close turns into the open of the next candle, at least for cryptocurrency. For Forex or stocks or whatever it is, I don't know how that works. I don't trade that, but you guys will have to adjust accordingly if you're doing it for stocks or Forex or any of that other stuff. All right. So for our exception, so if basically the try is like to do any of this, and if all of this is fine and we don't run into any problems, then we'll just finish. For the exception, we're going to basically do this. So exception is going to be except exception as E, and then we're going to say exception long set, and then I like to just say exception, then I state the function that we're having the exception in, and then I just put this arrow E, and so whatever the problem is, that's what it's going to show up as. And so here I'm going to say that this is a warning, and then we're also going to raise exception. Well, yeah, we're going to raise the exception right here, and actually this is going to be an error. Okay, so, and then we'll raise the exception as well. And so we have that for our long set entries and exits. So that's what we've done here. So we're setting our entries and exits. And yeah, so when we run this, the way it works is, let me show you. So here we have strategy.entries. So remember we did self.entries right here. And so what we're doing over here, within the backtester, is we're reading from that array, and we're saying self.entries of the bar index. So if it's true, that means it's time to enter a trade, which is what we have here, strategy.entry message. And so what is entry message? Entry message, eventually we will create that for the long strategy. But and so you can see here, this entry message is actually a function that we're going to create. And so that's where all of this self stuff works, because we've saved if we go up to here to strategy, so you can see here, strategy is a strategy class, right? And that's what we're building here. Like we talked about earlier, we have this is a strategy class. Okay. And so anyways, what we'll do in the next video is create some logging information for the long entries. Okay, for this video, we're going to be creating our messaging for our logs. And so here we're going to create this long log indicator settings, and we're also going to create the long entry message. And so what we'll do is we'll come down here and we will create this function right here. So def long log indicator settings, self indicator settings index, and it's going to be an int. And so here you'll just put logger.info indicator setting index, and it'll basically say 1 or 2 or 0 or whatever we're at, and then that going to show us what our SMA fast length is and our SMA slow length is. Okay, and so what that'll look like in the actual log itself is, you'll see here we have long log indicator settings, indicator setting index equals 1, then SMA fast length equals 20, SMA slow length equals 60, and so on and so on. Okay, and so let's go back over to here, and so that's going to be that function right there. And then the next function is going to be our entry message. You guys can put whatever you guys would like for this entry message. Again, this is for your logs, and so for me, I just put I come in here, throw the bar index. Okay, so in some of these, you will need to you'll need to use the bar index if you're wanting to do something like I have, let's say over here for this situation that I've got going on here, where this is like a RSI strategy, and or no, this is a return strategy, and so here we're just showing the entry price, and we're showing the max high and stuff like that, and so we would need the bar index, so sometimes you need it there. So this does require that you have the bar index, even if you're not going to use it. So anyways, I just have this entry time. I'm showing exactly what the entry means, and then I'm also going to provide a new line that shows what the current previous SMA fast is, which actually, now that I think about it, I do actually have to do it like this. Okay. Yeah, I completely forgot. That's why I'm sending the bar index. All right, well, there you go. So because of the way I sent it earlier, what would end up happening is it would send the entire array every single time, and all I want is the number of wherever we're at with the bar index. Duh. What the hell am I thinking? Oh my God. Okay. All right. Well, there's that. And so, yeah, we need the bar index, and so everything is going to be good. So this is just going to be a number less than number and number greater than number. So we're going to replace these, and so it'll look all nice. And I cannot believe I forgot about how could I forget the bar index? And oh my God, a lack of brain cells here. So Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is show you guys the short information that you would need. So you guys can go ahead and do shorting if you would like, but you're going to have to figure that out on your own, which will be a good test of have you guys learned, you know, throughout this course so far, have you guys learned enough to where you want to try to short? So I highly suggest that you guys try to create a shorting. And so we'll get into that in the next video. All right, for shorting and going live, I'm gonna just go ahead and copy and paste over what we have for the shorting. This. Okay, so if you were to want to short, again, you'd have to change this and make it so that way, you know, your SMA fast length, everything here would be the same, except here you would change your entries. You know, you'd want to probably change this to greater than, change this to less than, change this to less than, change this to greater than, and it would be able to, you'd be able to do it like that. Again, I'm not going to be going over shorting or going over how to do this live in this video. Those are going to be things for you to test your knowledge. Okay, I want you guys to go ahead and test your knowledge, see if you guys can figure that out. And again, if you guys have any questions with it, or you run into problems or trying to figure this out, again, join the Discord, ask your questions there. And yeah, but for the people who are not going to short, you still have to have these functions in here. They just have to have pass, which is basically absolutely nothing. They just exist in case they need to be called for whatever reason, which they won't be, but you're just going to pass. Okay, and so here you can see when you do have those functions, these light up, so that way you can click and just go straight to them and it'll show you. But there's that. And then for the live mode, well, actually, okay, so whatever. And again, for the live mode, this is going to be more for the people that are dead serious about this. They have some skills and they know what they're doing and they want to go live with their strategy. And so again, that is for our premium members or our pro members. And again, to be part of that, all you need to do is just show me that you know exactly what you're doing. You know how to code, you're serious about this, and then I'll give you access to it and help you learn about how to go live with Quant Freedom. Or you can just figure it out yourself and learn through yourself by using the exchanges and stuff like that we have. Okay, but the reason why I have that separate in the premium version instead of making it paid is because, yeah, you're just going to get tons and tons and tons of questions from people who don't even really actually know what they're doing or anything like that. And so it'd just be a gigantic time suck to be trying to educate people on certain things that are very complicated when they don't really necessarily know the basics of programming. Okay, and so I don't even know if I needed to explain myself, but anyways, I already did, so too late. I'm not going to redo this. But anyways, here's your live. You should need this. You need this because, again, we do have the live mode. As you guys know, over here, we do have the live mode. So you can just go live with whatever strategy that you would like. And next, we're going to be going over the plotting. Okay, so make sure that you guys are ready for the plotting section. All right, now we are going to go over the plotting for when we've ran the back test, and then we want to see exactly where our signals were and different things like that. And so we've already gone over the plotting in the previous example, so we're just copying that over. So that's all I'm basically doing here. And so what you'll need to do is create a function. I just did this really quick. So we're going to create a function called plot signals. It needs to be exactly plot signals. It can't just be what you want. And all of these functions names have to be exactly what we have here, because inside of how we run the backtester, it's looking for specific names like this. Okay, these are not something that you guys can make up your own names about. Okay, And so here it's looking for plot signals. We need self, and we need we need the candles. And so here again, you can copy and paste from what we've already done previously, and paste that in here. And then remember our figure that we created here with the signals. So you're going to want to do that, copy that over, copy everything over. And the main differences that you will do after you've done that is here, we're just going to have the Y of self.SMA fast. Then we're going to have our self.SMA slow. And then we will have here self.cross above signal, self.cross below signal. All right. And then here, the thing that we have here is, oh, wait. We also, I forgot to mention, also you want to do fig equals go.figure and then do all of that. And then you want to get rid of the dot update layout, and you want to put fig dot update layout. So usually the dot update layout would be right here. Actually, I lied. Well, doesn't matter. Yeah, get rid of that. Put fig.update layout. Then we have our height is 800. X range slider is false. And then here I just added this little title thing. Title equals dict. X equals 0.5. So we're saying put in the middle of the X axis. And then the text is going to be signals. X anchor is just going to be center. And then the font equals dict, size is 50. You guys can change it to 40. 50 is kind of obnoxious, I'm not gonna lie. And then at the very end we want to do fig.show. Okay, and then here this is for the live version, is you just do get underscore strategy underscore plot underscore file name, and then self candles, and we're just gonna have this pass because this is not live. Again, if you want live, I've already explained exactly what you need to do. You can either do it yourself and grab the functions yourself and work it yourself, or you can hit me up and say, hey, I feel like I understand enough about Python. I'm ready to learn more about how to go live. And so now that we have everything that we need, I think it's actually time to run some back tests. What do you guys say? Let's run some back tests. All right, it is now time for us to actually run the back test. And so here, what you can do is import all of this information here. Again, or for me, I'm using Mufex. This is going to help me get the up-to-date, what is it called? Exchange settings. We've already gone over that. Then the helper functions, we don't need this. From quantfreedom.enums import everything. This is probably not the best idea. You'd want to only import exactly what you need, but I mean, I don't really care for this. For the enums, just import everything. And then from quantfreedom.exchanges, this is what I am doing. Again, you don't have to do any of this. And then if you want to use a different exchange, but I prefer Mufex. I like Mufex as of I'm recording this. You know, who knows if any exchange is going to be an FTX. Okay, I'm just saying I like it for what it is right now. It's my favorite exchange, my favorite decentralized exchange. If you guys want to sign up for it, if you go down below in the links below, go to all my links, and then you'll see a Mufex link there. You guys can check that out. So if you guys come up here, you'll see all the way down here all my links. Mufex Dex, you guys can sign up, and it's the best right now for the Dex. Okay, and then from datetime, import datetime. So here what you have to do, you run this cell. Then the next thing that you have to do right now is if you want to run it in a cell, you're gonna have to copy the entire thing that we just made, all right, and put that in one cell like this. So all of this information here, everything that we just did in that Python file, you copy it, put it in one cell, and then we're gonna run this, and then I'm just gonna flatten it so that way we don't see any of it. Okay, so now we have our class created and everything's ready to go. Here I'm just creating my Mufex exchange, and so here I'm getting my API keys and all this other stuff. So we're creating that. Then here for the candles, again, you guys can download the candles however you would like. think we've already gone over that with the DLEX candles. I've already gone over this before, so we can go ahead and download the candles. I'm just downloading BTC USDT on a 30-minute time frame and the last 3,000 candles. Again, you guys can do it as far as the date time goes. You guys can download whatever you would like, but I'm just downloading the last 3,000 candles. And then here, we've already gone over the set exchange settings, so I've got that. Then the backtesting settings, I'm not putting any filters or anything like that. I'm just going with what the normal thing here is. Then I'm setting my DOS array. So this is just dynamic order settings arrays. Here, got 12 for max. Max trades is 5. This doesn't even actually matter. Put it at 0. Risk account percent size is 3. So that means we're going to have a total of 4 possible trades to get into. But even though we're only really getting into 1 trade, but okay, anyways, risk to reward doesn't matter. Stop loss based on ad percent, I'm just doing 0.05 and 0.15%. Then stop loss based on look back, I'm just going to do 30. And then the candle body type is going to be low. We don't need this about break even. The trailing stop loss is going to be the low, and then I'm putting here 0.5 and 1. And then here, the trailing stop loss win is, I'm going to say we are, well, oh wait, whoops, I have this completely backwards. I want to trail by 1 or 2%, and then I want to start trailing when we're either 0.5% away or 1% away. Do I want to do that? Let's do 1 and 3% away. Yeah, why not? Why not 1 and 3, and then we're going to trail by 1 and 2. So here you could put, you know, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. You could put a whole bunch of these things in here. That's what the whole point of this. You could put a ton of different options in here, just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of different options in here, and it could get to the point where it's you have a gigantic amount, because this DOS arrays is going to end up turning into a Cartesian product. Okay, and so you could end up having a lot of different possible combinations. Okay, and so but it's going to take forever. It will take forever using the regular Python mode. So again, just like with going live, that's for the pro version, or for the people who qualify for the pro, and I'll be able to explain all that stuff. There's also the super, super fast version, which is literally 100 times faster. Something that would take you about an hour to do with regular Python using NumPy and different things like that, which is as fast as Python can go. You use the super fast or NB that I have, then literally you can do you can do like 1 million. I'll show you over here. 29 million candles. I went over 29 million candles, had over 12,000, and this thing did it in 3 minutes. Whereas if you were to do it in regular Python and you were to have this many candles and this many settings and stuff like that to go over, it would probably take you 13. It's literally 100 times faster than regular Python. So whatever 100 times more of 3 minutes is, that's how long it take you. What is it? 300 minutes or something like that. So we're talking multiple hours, possibly even longer than that. Maybe even like 12 hours or something, depending on how fast your computer is too. So anyways, if you guys want to learn how to do that, because that's definitely for the pro premium side of things, because you cannot debug using the NB way, the Nitro Booster way. You can't. Literally, you cannot. It won't let you. So, anyways, so we have here the static order settings. We're doing the risk percent account size. The leverage strategy type is dynamic. Min. Stop loss based on candle body. I think we've already gone over all of this in the past, so everything should be the same for this. We've made a couple of changes to this right here. So anyways, for the strategy, this is where we were saying we're creating a class of SMA crossing strategy, and then here I'm just doing very simple 20 in a range from 20 to 60 1 by 20. So we're going to get 20, 40, and 60. And then this is going to be 30 through 91, which is going to give us, it's in steps of 30. So we're going to get 30, 60, and 90. All right. And then that's where, again, what we showed you earlier, the, well, actually, let's see. Let's see. Let's do this real quick. If this is, I don't even know if this is actually going to work and do what I want it to do. Nope. So whatever. We're just gonna, we'll go back to that later, possibly. So anyways, we'll just run this cell, and now we have everything. So here, if I go back and I do strategy dot, you'll see that we have this cross above signal, cross below signal, entries, entry message, exit prices. So if I did this, remember how we had, oh wait, no, I can't do that yet. Let's see, what else do we have here? Because we didn't actually like create anything for that. So we don't have any exit prices yet. So we don't have any of these things. So indicator settings array is what I wanted to actually look at. So indicator settings array, you can see here, we have 20, 20, 20, 40, 40, and 60, because we got rid of some of the ones where, you know, because here, look, this 60, 30, or 60 is greater than 30, so we don't need that. 60 is greater than 60, so we don't need that. 60, 90 is what we need right here, okay? And so that's what we did with that where function. We got rid of all of the ones where it was overlapping and stuff like that, all right? And so here, if we did dot SMA fast length and we did 1, you would see that we would get 20. And if we did 5, you see we get 60. And so that goes back to what we were doing with the classes and all of that other fun stuff. So anyways, what do we have next? Well, now we have to actually run the DF backtest. So that's why we have it imported from quantfreedom.simulate import run DF backtest. All right. And so now we'll come down to here. We'll get rid of all this. And so for the backtest, we need backtest settings is going to be backtest settings. Candles is going to be candles. DOS arrays is going to be DOS arrays. Exchange settings, for me, it's mufix.exchange settings. For you, if you did not do this, then you know, you're going to have to fill out your exchange settings, save it as exchange settings, and then put it here. All right. And then static OS. Strategy is going to be strategy. Logger bool. So this is going to be whether we want to log. We don't want to log anything because you more than likely you usually want to log when you're just doing one, because then if you log and you're going through like 100 different possible combinations, well, it's going to slow you down even more because it has to write all these logs. And so we don't necessarily need that right now. Okay, you need that when you're checking. So if you've created a strategy and you want to check, then you check it by running it on the this OR backtest, which we'll get into in a second. So anyways, we'll run this as false. And so none of that's going to work. And so we have to run everything previous again to it. And now it's going to run. And so here we'll have to wait a little bit. So you can see here we have a total of 6 indicator settings to test, which we've already shown you. What was that? 20, 20, 20, 20, 40, 40, or something like that. Like 20, 20, 20, then 40, 40, and then 60. So that's 6 possible settings. Then total order settings to test, we have 8. And then total combinations, we have 48 possible combinations here that we're testing. Over 3,000 candles, so that means that it's 48 times 3, which gives us this many total candles to test. And so we've saved it as backtest results, so it's going to come back as a pandas data frame. And then here, we run this backtest results.sort value by QF score. Again, my quant freedom score, yeah, quant freedom score is the most important thing here. And then I'm just putting ascending as false, and then I'm only showing the top 10. Okay, if I remove this dot head, then it would show all of these, which I don't really care about. The ones that are down here, I really don't care. I could honestly set up the filter, but to get rid of anything that's below like 0.7. Because honestly, even if you don't, I wouldn't even, honestly, I would not even begin to look at anything that's probably honestly below a 0.9. Because then if you're dealing with 0.8s and stuff like that, it's just too much drawdown. Because I mean, even look at this, like, you know, it's just not good. It's just not good. And then even for this, there's not that many wins, but you know, we probably had some pretty crazy wins here. So we're gonna take a look at all of these, or some of couple of these, and see exactly what happened by running this order records backtest. Okay, and so we'll do that in the next one. All right, so we have our results here. I'm just gonna be looking at the top 5 because that's all I really care about here. And so I am very curious to see how in the hell is this even accurate? Like, what in the world? What? How is this even possible? Maybe we had some like crazy. I don't even understand. Well, we're about to check it out. So here, the way this works is you basically just copy and paste everything from the from this, and you paste it into here. And then the extra things that we need to add is DOS index, indicator setting index, and plot results. And then I have this logger set to true. Again, you don't need it. It's going to create a log for you, but again, you don't necessarily need this. I would highly suggest you always put it to true though. But once you have verified that your strategy works the way you want it to work, then you don't need to really put the logs there. The logs are there for you to, yeah, see exactly what's happening to make sure your strategy is working properly. But anyways, so here our DOS index, remember, like we talked about earlier, this creates a Cartesian product. And so we need to figure out out of that Cartesian product, which of the indexes, you know, what, and that's going to tell us exactly, this is going to be 12. So here it's going to be like, is DOS index 2, which one did we use, 0.5 or did we use 0.05? For DOS index 2, which one did we use, 1 or 2, 1 or 3? And so that's what we're going to do here. And so all we know is that we have the indicator settings index, because again, we have 6 possible settings, right? And we have 8 possible order settings, dynamic order settings. And so here we have 2, and here is going to be zeros. So the first one is, we'll just set this as 2, and then we have this as 0, and then the plot results is going to be true. And so we'll run this real quick. I'm gonna change this, well, whatever. And so you can see that our dynamic order settings were 12, 0, 3. Here we added 0.5% and 0.05%. And then look back, we're trailing, stop loss is 3, okay. So we're gonna trail when we are 1% away, and we're gonna trail by 2%. So here you can see exactly what is happening here. These are our entries and our exits. These are our signals, right? So we entered, we exited, we entered, and then we exited, we entered, we exited, we entered, we exited, we entered, we exited, we entered, we entered, and then here, boom, 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 boom. Wow, 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 wow. This is insane if we didn't get stopped out. Okay, we exit here. But anyways, that's what we have for our 3,000 candles. Jesus Christ, enter, exit, enter, exit, enter, exit, enter, exit, enter, exit. So here, oh my God. So you can see here, well, we started at 0, we lost. Then we made $1,000. Oh my, and then here we made, oh my God. Oh my God, we made some monies, some monies. Oh my God. I mean, obviously, we just went straight up, right? We went from 2,000 to, 4,500. But anyways, this goes to show you right here. Let's see what happened. So we entered, we got stopped out, we entered, then our stop loss was trailing. So this is, and then we got stopped out up here. Because our trailing stop loss got hit, and so that's where we made a whole bunch of money. And then our stop loss trailed. We got stopped out here. Okay, we got stopped out there. All right. We got stopped out in profit. We got stopped out and lost money. So the ones where it's pink or whatever, we lost money for the X, and then when it's green, we made money. So here we lost some, got stopped out in profit for the trailing stop loss. And so you guys can see, you guys can just play around with this. Okay. Boom. So we didn't actually ever take profit, it seems, on the actual exit. Most of these seem to be exited from the trailing stop loss, it looks like. So, all right, so this is why it's very important that you plot everything, because you're able to see where the problems are, because I was able to see that we were taking exits. There's tons of exits here, but I was like, why are we not hitting any of those exits? And so here you can see that I actually had a problem here in my code that I just fixed right now, and now we actually have the real results, which is showing you here that we end up taking profit because we did have that that crossover for a sell happening there. Then here we got stopped out. Here we entered a trade, and then let's take a look. We moved our stop loss up. Our stop loss was going up. We got stopped right there, and then let's see, we keep moving it. We got into a trade right here. We had a cross here. We took profit, and here we ended up having a cross there, I guess. And then here we ended up having a cross here, and through exit, because you guys saw here, I mean, we had just tons and tons and tons of crosses happening over and over and over and over again with this cross. We had a cross that fast. Oh wow, that's insane. Okay, well, I guess that happens. But again, we're using some pretty low numbers here. So again, this is where you want to go through and play around with this as much as you possibly can. But anyways, I was able to fix that. And so now we're able to see some of these results here. And as you guys can see, the QF score, the ending equity is a lot different. But what we can do is we can also come up here and we can say, okay, that's what we had when we had our take profit provided. Let's see what happens if we do nothing. So we don't have a take profit. All we have is a trailing stop loss. So let's see what happens when we run all that. Let's I'm just clearing all the options, restarting it and interrupting it, and yeah, let's see what happens here. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we'll see what the results are on the next video. All right, so as promised, we are looking at it when we just basically trail our stop loss, and we're putting our take profit strategy type to nothing. We don't want to take profit. We just want to buy and trail and buy and trail. And so you can see here, you know, okay, all right, okay, all right. Oh, that's I guess that's a good amount of money there. So here you can see that what the best results were for the dynamic order settings. You can see what they were here, and then for our signals, you can see our entries and our exits, and here you can see exactly what happened with the trailing and trailing and trailing and trailing and trailing. So that's how we got this big fat one and to begin with, and then we had another fat one, and then we had another fat one showing up here. And so again, you guys can go through and see exactly each and every single trade that happened, when it was filled, the date time of when it was filled. All of the information that you need is also right here as well. And so yeah. So again, if there's any questions, you guys know where to go, the Discord, and ask me questions. All right, congratulations, you've made it to the end of the video. Big ups to you for making it all the way through this, and hopefully you guys learned something. Again, for the shorting, you can ask me questions about that in the Discord. For the live, you can ask me questions about that, and if you qualify, like I said, I'll add you to the pro or the premium section, where you can ask me any types of questions, and all that you need to qualify is to prove that you actually are serious about this, you want to learn, or you already know how to code and you're serious about wanting to learn this. Because for me, I'm just gonna be completely honest, I'm not gonna waste my time on somebody who doesn't want to actually do this. You know, I'm not here to give away free information to people who aren't actually going to try. So if that sounds like you, go down below, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and join the Discord or Telegram. I prefer Discord 100% over Telegram. I hate Telegram. So, and then ask me questions there. And then again, if you guys need, I really like Mufex as a decentralized exchange. It's really good. And then I also have these other exchanges here, and then I also have a VPN if you need it or want it or whatever. Only use the VPN if terms of service of whatever website you're using says you should and your country says you should. You know, whatever, all that fun stuff that we all pay attention to on the internet, right? But anyways, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, things are always constantly being updated. Have any questions? I've already told you where to go. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.